Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto, 10,000 Times Return, starting with Rock Lee. Chapter 1. Konoha Calendar 52 years. In a forest on the border of the Land of Fire, there are broken limbs and arms. Asuma silently lit a cigarette and looked at the corpse wrapped in white cloth in front of her. He didn't understand why his father let Orochimaru go. Maybe it was time to leave. Withdrawing his thoughts, his eyes showed sadness. Shun, I'm sorry, I promised you that after this mission, I will take you back to the village. I broke my promise, I can't even take your body back, I'm sorry for you. Full of tears, he went up and wanted to light the fire, but suddenly, the white cloth in front of him twisted. Blinking his eyes, a large bead of sweat ran across Asuma's forehead. It was unmistakable. He checked it himself. In order to save his life, his good brother Uchiha Shun was pierced through the heart by Orochimaru with kunai, but why is Shun's body still moving now? Could it be an illusion? No matter which world it is, when the funeral attendees hear the phrase, "Hey, look, he's moving," the first reaction is not surprise, but instinctive fear. Swallowing a mouthful of spit, Asuma pulled out kunai, and cautiously approached the white cloth who was struggling more and more fiercely. "Brother, don't blame me, the dead should go back to where the dead should go." Bah! A pale arm stretched out from under the white cloth, and countless horror legends echoed in Asuma's mind in an instant. As the son of 3 generations, he has seen countless miraculous ninjutsu, but he has never heard of the fact that his heart can be resurrected after being broken into pieces. Bah! Another pale arm protruded from under the white cloth. Asuma gritted her teeth and waved kunai. "No matter what kind of monster you are, go back to where you came from. It's so numb." Uchiha tore off the white cloth in an instant. "Which fool bound me into a mummy? Do you want to suffocate me?" Then he saw an ice-cold kunai standing less than a finger wide in front of his eyes. He was furious, and grabbed it. "Gah, you still want to kill someone? See what you can do. I'm going to see if anyone dares to touch me. See if I don't destroy his whole family, I will." Glancing around, looking at Asuma whose jaw had dropped in shock, she frowned. "Oh, cosplay. Tisk tisk, don't mention it, it looks like it. Come on buddy, let's have a cigarette." He took the cigarette that Asuma handed over, took a deep breath, and exhaled a long puff of white mist. "Tell me, who told you to come?" He has no father and no mother, and he grew up eating a variety of meals. He is the most disobedient. Whoever dares to bully him and his friends, no matter who the other party is, he will dare to do it with a brick. People gave him a nickname, the third brother with a flat head. He remembered that yesterday he sent 2 extremely unrestrained girls to eat and drink together, hugging left and right so that they were very happy. How did it appear in the shroud today? It's outrageous. Asuma's trembling hands touched Uchiha Shun's cheek with tears of surprise and disbelief. "Are you not dead?" "Great, you're really not dead." Uchiha waved his fist as big as a sandbag, and greeted Asuma. "Who the hell is dead?" "Ah, don't hit me, I'm Asuma." Asuma ran away with her head in her arms. "Oh, don't hit your face, don't hit your face." "Ah, bah." Uchiha hit more and more comfortably in an instant, stepped on Asuma's face for a while, and said, "If you are like this, is it Asuma? If you are really Asuma, then I am fire." Just when he was about to say shadow characters, a lot of memories suddenly flooded into his mind. He crossed. He also came to the dangerous world of Hokage. What's more tragic is that he is still the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Shun. It's hard. It is very uncomfortable. This is not appropriate to the rhythm of GG. Orochimaru has defected to Konoha, and it will be far before Uchiha Itachi is fooled by all parties, and the genocide will be exterminated. I don't know if it's too late to hug the thighs of the 3rd generation. Wait, what does the person who was beaten by him just now seem to be called Asuma? Ah, I just asked if I beat 3 generations of my own son just after crossing. Can I survive 2 episodes? Wait online. In a hurry. Hiss. Asuma slowly got up from the ground while clutching her nose, and looked at Uchiha Shun resentfully. "Are you awake?" Shun is a partner who grew up with Asuma since childhood, and it is also an attempt by the 3 generations to win over the Uchiha clan, but it is a pity that there is no result. He even made Shun a traitor among the Uchiha clan, and was deeply excluded. Ha ha ha. He hugged Asuma's shoulder vigorously. "They are all brothers." Yeah. Asuma looked up at the sky, tried her best to control his emotions, and said calmly with a hint of expectation. You really don't want to go with me to join the Guardian 12 warriors? 1 second. 2 seconds. The momentary silence seemed to represent the answer, and Asma shook her head decadently. Well, I won't be able to protect you anymore in the future. Take care of yourself. By the way, I promised you. If you want any ninjutsu, just tell me. As long as it's not special, I can give it to you. In the moment in front of him, he broke with the clan because of him, and the Uchiha clan was not loved by the village's senior officials. I really don't know after he left. How can Shun continue to stay in the village? Maybe in the next mission, he will stay outside forever and never come back. HMPH, that old guy in the village, who eats a vegetarian meal in his corpse, has no other skills, so he knows how to attack the village's own people. He has long been displeased with the tolerance of the third generation, otherwise he would not have to leave to join the Guardian 12 soldiers. Uchiha looked at Asuma for a moment. Is the only person who can get online with the third generation just after time travel. Is he leaving? I want to fly Thor. Asma, gritting teeth. Change 1. Oh, Shun shrugged. Then let's go with the 8-door Dunjia. Asma said silently, okay, I will try my best to fly to Thunder God, if not, I will use the door armor. Although Baman Dunjia is a forbidden technique, it is not suitable for the Uchiha clan, and it is easy to learn. There are many people who know it, but few people use it, and even fewer people practice it to the extreme, because physical skills are the most easy to learn and difficult to master, and those who can master 4 doors are already very rare. What's more, the last dead door of the 8 gates will undoubtedly die after a short-lived appearance. How many people will practice their whole life, just for the wonderful moment of the last bloom? Scratching his head, Uchiha Shun nodded in comprehension. Okay. It wasn't him who was in a daze just now, but a strange voice suddenly sounded in the depths of his mind. Ding, the system is being activated, 3%, 11%, 35%. Activation complete. Binding the host. Host binding is successful. Ding, the apprentice return system is successfully bound. Sure enough, Goldfinger will be late, but never absent. Listening to the unfamiliar mechanical sound, Shun's mood was very excited. All the fears and anxieties that had come to this late-stage world of Naruto, where big moves were flying all over the sky and would destroy the world at every turn, all dissipated. All that was left was intense joy and excitement welling up in my heart. As an old bookworm, who doesn't know that after having a golden finger, the world will let me run wild? After calming down his excited heart, he began to study the system carefully. Very simple and straightforward. As long as you accept apprentices and give them ninjutsu or other things, they will be returned several times. Up to 10,000 times. There is also a chance to trigger the return of quality. For example, it is possible to give the disciple Shanguyu the Blood Wheel Eye, and return the Kaleidoscope Blood Wheel Eye or the Reincarnation Eye. Of course, it depends on fate whether it is returned 10,000 times or returned in quality in the end. Finally, every apprentice has a trigger limit, which prevents him from grabbing a person and pulling the wool hard. In other words, more apprentices should be recruited. However, the system does not collect all garbage, and the qualifications must reach a level at the very least to be recognized by the system. After understanding the system, Uchiha immediately put his arm around Asma's shoulder and raised his eyebrows. How about it, do you want to worship me as a teacher? He, Asma, is also an A-level qualification, right? Asma, looking at Shun with a face full of bewilderment. Are you crazy? You single Guyu's Uchiha suspension car, let him be the son of 3 generations, and worship him as a teacher. Hey, what kind of eyes do you have? Uchiha instantly became unhappy. Why, brother is leaving, can't you call me teacher? Don't worry, I won't let you scream for nothing, I will teach you a ninjutsu that is 100% sure to hit. Although she doesn't know what Sangyang Tanju is, Asma vaguely senses that this is not a serious ninjutsu. Besides, Uchiha Shun's strength, what can he teach him, and he still wants to be his teacher. Pushing Shun's arm away, he strode towards the village in stride. Shun hurriedly shouted from behind. No, Qingyan 18 can also consider it. Along the way, Shun hugged Asma back to Konoha. Unfortunately, he still failed to make Asma worship him as his teacher. With a long sigh, he returned to the Uchiha clan's residence alone, and felt countless malice in an instant. On the one hand, the Uchiha clan, as the Konoha garrison, did all the work of offending people, and with the help of caring people, they were deeply despised by the Konoha villagers. On the other hand, Uchiha Shun was so close to Asuma, the son of the third generation, and was cast aside by the tribe. It can be said that he is despised by others inside and outside. This is the sorrow of a small person caught in multiple layers of influence. Think about Uchiha Itachi again. Under the high pressure of the village's senior management, family and Uchiha Madara, he had to make a choice. That kind of sadness pointed directly at the atrium. Shaking his head, he threw these redundant thoughts out of his mind. Since he, Uchiha Shun, is here, the tragedy must be rewritten. Pushing away a wooden house that is both unfamiliar and familiar, and walking into it, it can really be described as a barren house. Open personal information. Host, Uchiha Shun. Age, 13 years old. Realm, Chunin. Blood succession boundary. Blood Wheel Eyes 1 Go U. Ninjutsu. Fire Escape Ho Fireball, Fire Escape Impatience, Uchiha Taijutsu, Uchiha Shuriken, Sanshenjutsu, Substitution, Transformation, Clone. It turned out to be Chunin. Uchiha Shun was surprised for a moment. The original body is so weak, is it a Chunin? As we all know, ninjas are divided into low-level ninja, middle-level ninja, special high-level ninja, high-level ninja, elite high-level ninja, Wakage level and God level, 6 paths. Except for the ninja who just graduated from the ninja school, the ninja can already start to perform tasks alone, and even lead the team in the war years. And with the pitiful ninjutsu and Yigoyu Shueilunyan of the original body, he turned out to be a middle ninja. There is enough water. But think about it, during the Third Ninja War, Konoha fought on multiple fronts, even 5 or 6-year-old children were not spared. All of them graduated as Zongnin and sent to the battlefield. It is conceivable what happened to him as a Zongnin. Shun couldn't help complaining, so even if he received an apprentice, what could he teach? Millennium Kill, or Pick Your Eyes. Close the panel. Ding, the system prompts that the host still has a novice gift package that has not yet been claimed. I was overjoyed. I really came to whatever I wanted, and the golden finger was really powerful. System, get the novice gift package. Ding, rewards are being distributed. Ding, congratulations to the host, you have obtained the inheritance of the 6 styles of the Navy, Commandments 1, and a bottle of marrow washing pill. Needless to say, the precepts are used to punish apprentices, who knows who is smoked, severe pain but no injury, and even relieves muscle fatigue. Hey, wait, is this a serious rule? An extremely dangerous thought flashed through Uchiha Shun's mind, and he quickly threw it out of his mind. System, start inheritance. Ding, the inheritance of the Navy's 6th style is being distributed. In an instant, Uchiha hugged his head and roared. Countless words and pictures flooded into his mind, causing him a splitting headache. At the same time, some strange changes were taking place in his body. Sometimes it was as hard as iron, and sometimes it was as light as thin paper, especially his legs and fingers. Numerous muscles were torn and reassembled, as if years of penance had been squeezed and completed in an instant. Call. With a long breath of white mist, Uchiha closed his eyes instantly. Shave. In an instant, the soles of the feet slammed on the ground dozens of times at high speed, moving at a high speed with the help of its explosive and powerful reaction force. The body flickered, and in less than a breath, he had run more than 3 times in the wooden house, and came to the wall, point to the gun. Like a diamond in his hands, he stabbed dozens of times on the thick wall with lightning and flint, allowing countless sunlight to drift in through the holes. Lanjiao. With the left foot as the center, the right foot is lifted suddenly, and the vacuum is rolled up with a super fast and powerful kick. A crescent-like slash broke through the wall and slid tens of meters into the air before disappearing. Moon Step. The strong foot power tramples on the air, generating strong air force, and moves at high speed in the air. With one step, Shun has reached the roof out of thin air, and with another step, his body moves 5 meters to the left in vain. This is in the air with no leverage, the corner of the mouth is raised. This is a good move, whether it is attacking or dodging, it can bring unexpected results. Finally, paper painting, unloading the whole body, fully opening the perception, and making the body as soft as paper. It flutters as the air changes, thus dodging all attacks. That's right, These 6 style techniques are indeed very practical for actual combat, and these attempts are only the most basic application. There are more advanced applications and 6 style combinations waiting for him to use. As for the rest of the iron, don't try it. Uchiha Shun slowly fell to the ground, opened the marrow washing pill, and the strong medicinal fragrance rushed to his face. Without any hesitation, he took out one and swallowed it in one gulp. Immediately, a strange force flowed into his body, passed through the blood, and reached the internal organs. While transforming and strengthening, impurities are also discharged, making his potential more profound. 2 hours later, Uchiha slowly opened his eyes, and in the scarlet blood wheel eyes, there was another hook jade, and there was also a copy function in addition to insight. Produced by the system, it really is a high-quality product. Feeling the explosive power and almost infinite physical strength, Uchiha squeezed his chin and thought. But where can I find an apprentice here? Thinking of this, Shun's eyes couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Most of Konoha's high-quality ninjas are controlled by the family. In other words, without high-quality resource input and ninjutsu support, it is difficult for civilians to have any decent elites. Looking at the entire Konoha, from the beginning to the end of the village, there is no one except Jiraiya and the 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. And Jiraiya also started to rise after coming to Miyamu Mountain because of his mission and using reverse psychic art by mistake. As for Watergate, well, a proper tool man. Oh, by the way, you wouldn't say Tien Tien as an ordinary person, would you? With the speed of her scourge knife, the family doesn't have billions of dollars in assets, so I'm afraid she will go crazy. Thinking of Tien Tien, Uchiha clapped his hands instantly. By the way, how could he forget him? Lock Lee, a hardworking ninja who knows only physical skills but boasts that he wants to surpass all geniuses, is at his peak when he debuts. Afterwards, he was basically reduced to a role of soy sauce, and even had a son in the blogger's biography. Everyone still doesn't know who his wife is. It made him one of Hokage's biggest jokes. Can't help but sigh, hard work really can't beat the bloodline. Hokage is like this, pirates are like this, and Dragon Ball is like this. I thought it was the blood of the Dicks counterattack, but in the end I found that it was just a travelogue of the 2nd generation. Then let him break this fate. After all, his master is really teaching wholeheartedly, without any secrets. Just do what you want. Uchiha Shun put on his clothes and walked towards the slums. There is no doubt that Konoha also has slums, and it is still a large area. In the Nine Tails chaos that year, I don't know how many orphans were created, but with a big wave of the high-level officials, every orphan can receive a wooden house and a small amount of relief money. If you read Naruto's early life in the original book, you will know that the Konoha executives, who have always been known for their benevolence and righteousness, are just putting on a show. Who would really care about the life and death of those common people? Maybe you will say that Naruto is because he is the incarnation of Kyuubi, so he was deducted layer by layer, but don't forget, he is the son of 4 generations. After so many years, has a senior executive come forward and said a word? No, even the 3rd generation is letting go, let alone other orphans who have no father or mother. Walking into it, dilapidated wooden houses and hungry children squatting on the ground with blank eyes can be seen everywhere. From their empty eyes, there is no hope for the future, only numbness. Taking out a candy, Uchiha Shun said, "Who can tell me where Rock Lee is? It belongs to him." Seeing the attractive candies, countless children surrounded them, standing aside timidly, not daring to speak. Because they know the pattern of Shun's clothes, which is the symbol of the largest clan of Konoha, the Uchiha clan. Shun didn't rush, just stood there patiently, until a long time later, a white-haired kid mustered up his courage. He's at the training ground. Uchiha Shun slowly walked in front of him, squatted down, and rubbed his hair. Very good, then would you take me there? The child nodded vigorously. Shun took out a large handful of candies and distributed them to everyone, and then gave him all the rest. He was an orphan in his previous life, so he understands them. Let's go. After seeing the child carefully hiding the candy, he took his little hand and left. Soon, the two came to a dilapidated training ground. It was not so much a training ground as it was a piece of uneven soil covered with a few wooden stakes. At this moment, countless children are holding rocks and hitting a black-haired kid in green clothes who is constantly doing training. It is Rock Lee. If you don't know ninjutsu, you can't become a ninja. Give it up, tail truck. It's impossible for you to cross class, why don't you lie down obediently? What are you trying to do? Aren't you still a waste after retraining? Lock Lee was unmoved, even though his head was bloodied by stones, even in the face of countless ridicules and abuse, he did not give up. He wants to tell the world that Rock Lee is never worse than anyone else, even stronger. Suddenly, a 6 or 7-year-old figure jumped out of the crowd, making everyone quiet instantly, because there was a Uchiha Shun's Uchiha fan logo on his clothes. I saw him arrogantly coming in front of Lock Lee, looking down at him condescendingly. Waste, are you still unwilling to give up? Rock Lee did not respond. 897,898,899. There are still 100 left, and his training today will be completed. Angry and angry, Rock Lee's ignorance made him Uchiha Chishin very angry, raised his foot to Rock Lee and started kicking violently. Dare to ignore me, sir? Go to hell. He is the noble Uchiha clan, and he is also the grandson of the second elder Uchiha, even the clan members respect him when they see him. How dare this trash who can't even control chakra dare to ignore him? The violent blow forced Rock Lee to stop training, turn over and retreat. The trash. Uchiha Chiyama waved his fist and said, you want to be a ninja like me? Dream. Lock Lee tried his best to support himself, hiding from left to right and blocking from right, but he, who was already hungry, conducted high-intensity overdraft training. How can it resist the attack of Uchiha Chishin, which is accumulated by countless resources? With just 3 punches, he broke through his defense and hit the tip of his nose. In an instant, red blood covered his young face, and he was in a state of embarrassment. But Uchiha Chiyama still felt that it was not enough, and he still pressed Lee Luok to the ground, punching and kicking. Ninja, how can a waste like you touch it? Just lie on the ground obediently and look up at us, don't wish to resist. Do you still want to catch up with my figure and surpass me? Impossible. Punch after punch hit Rock Lee's body and face, until he was dying, and Uchiha Chiyama just stopped. Oh, Tui. A thick mouthful of saliva fell on Rock Lee's face, and Uchiha Chiyama turned around to leave with a satisfied and disdainful expression. Just grabbing his ankle with one hand, Rock Lee said inarticulately, no matter what, I will surpass you and become the greatest ninja. Then you go to die. Uchiha Kashan, who was burning with anger, took out kunai from his arms, and stabbed fiercely at the top of Rock Lee's head. He wanted to tell everyone present what would happen if he dared to provoke him. The wind whistled, and kunai with a cold light was getting closer and closer to Lee Luoki's eyes. Is it about to end? Hasn't become a ninja yet, hasn't started his dream yet. Boom. The expected coldness did not come, and Rock Lee looked at the back in front of him in surprise. Who are you? Want to become stronger? Uchiha Shun didn't look back. If you want to, ask me to be your teacher, and I will teach you. Lee Luok stared blankly at Shun's back, all kinds of food burst out in his heart, and the tears that he didn't even shed when he was severely beaten all came out at this moment. Is it possible? Is it really possible? Has someone finally recognized him? Can he finally become a ninja through hard work? Of course, as long as you call me master. Uchiha turned his head and stretched out his hand, and countless sunshine poured down from behind him. Everything can be achieved. Master. Rock Lee stretched out his hand, tightly grasped Uchiha Shun's big hand and shouted vigorously, piercing through the sky. Uchiha Shun. Kaizen Uchiha, who was kicked flying and rolled countless times on the ground, finally stopped, and angrily shouted. Do you know who I am, that you dare to hit me? Believe it or not, I told someone to kill you. Get lost or die. Uchiha immediately pulled Rock Lee up, turned and looked at him indifferently, motionless. Originally, because Chi Shan was still young and belonged to the same clan, he didn't kill him directly. How dare he challenge him now? PFF'd. Uchiha Chizun was so angry that he spurted out a big mouthful of blood. It was always his contempt for others, when it was his turn to be like him. You traitor, how dare you talk to me like that? I am the grandson of the second elder, go to hell. Si Wei Shen Hai Wu Yin, waving his hands, took a deep breath, fire escape how fireball technique. He didn't care if he would actually kill Uchiha Shun or other civilians, he just knew that Shun made him embarrassing in front of everyone. He had to get it back. As for Shuo Shun, did he dare to fight back? He never thought about it at all. When he thought about it, a traitor with a low status in the clan would dare to resist him, the second elder's grandson. Don't want to live. Facing the huge fireball surging, everyone retreated one after another, and Xiao Li was holding Uchiha Shun's hand tightly, at a loss. Uchiha patted Rock Lee's head in relief. Now I will teach you the first lesson as a teacher. If you want to be a strong man, you must be fearless. Land feet. A gust of wind suddenly picked up, and the crescent-like slash flew forward quickly with domineering power. Rock Lee stared blankly at this scene, as if something had been opened in his heart. No matter how hard he tried, it couldn't be closed anymore. He is just a commoner without father and mother, facing Uchiha, a rich family among Konoha families. He really never thought of resisting. What's more, the other party is the second elder's grandson. Wouldn't it be as easy as crushing an ant to death if he was crushed to death? But this master, who met for the first time, dared to do it directly. Isn't he afraid of revenge afterwards? That's the second elder of the Uchiha clan. Laugh. Like cutting tofu with a knife, Uchiha Shun's slash easily split the fireball into two, and the flames scattered. It turned into a little bit of starlight and sprinkled on everyone's faces, making them think they were in an illusion. Otherwise, how could someone attack Uchiha Chiyama? Otherwise, how could it be possible to cut through how fireball with one blow? Uchiha Chiyama stared wide-eyed, with deep disbelief in a daze, watching the slash that was getting closer and closer, and forgot to dodge. From birth to now, there are countless people who have been bullied by him, no matter how he insults, no matter how unwilling the other party is. No one dared to resist, and now, 5 meters, 3 meters. The lofty Uchiha Chiyama stood there in a daze, doubting life. Boom! The violent explosion raised thick smoke and dust, making everyone present feel ashamed. But he stared at the center of the smoke, not daring to shift it for even a second. Dead, are you? Rock Lee asked a question that everyone in the room knew. Did that incomparable Kashan die like this? No. The corner of Uchiha Shun's mouth rose slightly, and he had already felt a wall of earth rise in front of Kashan at the last moment. Xiao Li, remember, if there is smoke, the enemy must not be dead. HMPH. With a cold snort, a pair of scarlet eyes slowly appeared in the smoke. What courage! Who gave you the courage to dare to attack the second elder's grandson? If it wasn't for the last second, he sensed something was wrong and increased the output of chakra. Almost his earth flow wall couldn't block the slash. Thinking of this, a trace of cold sweat slid down his forehead. In case something went wrong with Uchiha Kashan, he was afraid that it would be useless. Kill him. Chi-shan, who had only reacted at this moment, roared loudly, kill him. He was almost, just a little bit, dead. Unforgivable, unforgivable. Yaoyang, what are you waiting for? Kill him. The person who suddenly appeared was none other than the guards chosen for him by the second elder, Konoha Kamanin, Sengo Yushuelunyan Uchiha Yaoyang. Okay, young master. Yaoyang put Kashan aside, grinned grinningly, pulled out kunai, and licked it on his lips. Step forward slowly, releasing murderous aura. He knew that Uchiha Shun in front of him, a waist like a tailed cart, barely opened his eyes to become a chunin, but compared with his strength, it was a world of difference. He likes this kind of opponent the most. He wants to torture him bit by bit, let him die slowly in endless fear, so that he can feel a little bit of pleasure in his heart. The tyrannical murderous aura frightened everyone to tremble. Their hands and feet were weak, not to mention resistance. Even escaping was an extravagant hope. And this is just the aftermath. The main murderous intent all flocked to Uchiha Shun. I saw him gently stroking his hair, looking at Li Luok who was trembling all over, and asked, are you afraid? Naruto's Madara was frightened and motionless the first time he encountered Zabuzan releasing his murderous aura. He was very curious what would happen to Xiao Li, who was 5 or 6 years old now. Don't be afraid. Although his hands and feet were cold, Xiao Li still stubbornly put on a fighting stance. Master said that the strong should face terror directly and be fearless. Okay. Uchiha Shun nodded with satisfaction. Then I will teach you the second lesson as a teacher. For all enemies, mothers-in-law and mothers are not required, and the roots must be eradicated. TCH. Uchiha Yaoyang sneered disdainfully. Just you, a good-for-nothing, dare to speak out. Look at how I teach you today. Throwing the shuriken, quickly forming a seal with both hands, Si Chen Mao Yin, chest puffed up, fire escape dragon fire. Boom. White smoke rises. Ahem. Uchiha Yaoyang ignored the blood gushing out of his mouth, stared at Uchiha Shun who appeared in the place where he was just now with his eyes wide open in shock. Blink. No, his blood wheel eyes didn't detect any chakra fluctuations at all, so, physical skills. Hiss. He took a deep breath. How powerful his physical body would be to break through a distance of more than 10 meters before his ninjutsu was formed. Monster. Countless fears appeared in his heart. Wait, what about others? Staring at the blood-red eyes, he looked around, left, no, right, no. So underground, and no, finally above. Still none. Cold sweat covered his forehead, and his muscles were tense. He didn't dare to turn his head, but the vague breath behind him reached his ears. What are you looking for? Uchiha Shun patted him on the shoulder kindly. Finger. The fingers as strong as King Kong inserted Uchiha Yaoyang's joints at an extremely fast speed. The instantaneous power after taking the Zisuidan is very powerful, and Shave's fast movement is even more unmatched. Ah! With a scream, Yaoyang's upper body shot out countless blood arrows like a fountain, instantly turning him into a bloody man. It's over, he's over. If he didn't protect the second elder's grandson, he must be over. Weak and collapsed on the ground, he couldn't help but ask Uchiha Shun, what kind of ninjutsu is this? Shun didn't answer, but walked towards Uchiha Kashan step by step. He didn't have the habit of explaining his own moves to the enemy and letting others find flaws. Trash, a Jonin with 3 Guyu, was killed in seconds by a suspension car. Uchiha Chiyama pretended to be calm, and stood still. Don't take another step forward, otherwise, I will let my grandpa kill you. Stop, didn't you hear what I said? No, don't go any further. You and my grandfather are the second elder, you are like an ant in front of him, you still don't kneel down and beg for mercy. But Uchiha Shun still slowly walked towards him step by step, and finally he couldn't hold back anymore, and cried out with a, wow. Don't come here, please, really don't leave. I was wrong, don't kill me, I don't dare anymore, just let me go this time. Really, as long as you let me go, you can ask for anything, ninjutsu, money, beautiful women, I will agree to everything. Seeing Uchiha Chizun kneeling on the ground, crying bitterly and begging for mercy, everyone present felt very happy. None of them had never been bullied by Kashan, but Kishan's identity and strength made them dare not resist, and could not resist. Now, seeing that he has suffered the retribution he deserves, how refreshing it is. Uchiha instantly came to Kashan, stretched out a hand, grabbed his neck, and pulled him up. Slowly, as the air in his mouth became less and less, Chishan began to struggle uncontrollably, and his eyes began to roll upwards. HMPH. On the ground, Yo-Yo Uchiha couldn't help but mocked, what are you pretending to be? If you dare, kill him. You dare. Boom. A crisp voice echoed in everyone's ears, instantly filling their hearts with panic. What? He actually killed Uchiha Chiyama. Boom. Everyone no longer had any intention of staying here to watch the fun, and all fled in panic. Chishan died, dying in front of their eyes. The second elder must not allow everyone present to be buried with his grandson. Uchiha Yo-Yo is even more of a big brain. He thought that Shun was just pretending. Who would have thought that he would actually dare to kill? That's not a cat or a dog, it's the Uchiha Chiyama who is rampant in Konoha. However, Uchiha Shun just threw Kishan's body in front of Uchiha Yaoyang like throwing out garbage, and turned to leave. Tell him, the killer, Uchiha Shun. Boom. Rock Lee's brain seemed to have been hit violently, setting off a huge wave. What is a man? What is a strong man? This is fearless, domineering and awe-inspiring. Just going to that stop makes people feel admirable, and it is full of a sense of security to follow by your side. Let's go. Uchiha walked out calmly, and Li Luok nodded fiercely and quickly followed. The white-haired child that, Putong, had just brought over suddenly knelt down in front of the two of them. Please allow me to follow. Uchiha glanced at him momentarily, frowning slightly. His aptitude D was useless to him, and he couldn't trigger the system to return a crit at all. And with this qualification, even if he really trains to become a ninja with all his heart, his future achievements will be extremely limited. Shun's expression instantly made everyone who hadn't run far break out in cold sweat, and they didn't dare to take a breath, for fear of disturbing him and becoming the next corpse. But the white-haired child kept hitting his head on the ground as if he didn't see it. Bang bang bang. His head was bleeding, blood was overflowing, and his small forehead was covered with dirt and gravel, but he still kowtowed there. After a while, until he fainted to the ground, Uchiha Shun said, "Take him and follow me closely." Yes, he is useless, even a liability. But Uchiha looked at him instantly, and saw the past, and he was the same when he was a child. No father and no mother, but still stubbornly refused to admit defeat, seizing every opportunity around him to climb up. Regardless of whether this opportunity is a trick of the devil, as long as he can become stronger, he is willing to go to hell. Gradually, the big and small figures disappeared from everyone's eyes, but this matter soon set off countless undercurrents in the seemingly peaceful wood industry. In Hokage's office, Sandai stood by the window, looking at the villagers living happily below, thinking for a long time. Finally, he sighed, "I'm sorry." For Konoha's overall stability, he had to sacrifice some personal gains and losses. Therefore, in order not to further anger the Uchiha clan and prevent them from launching a rebellion in advance, he chose to give up Uchiha Shun, who is recognized by everyone as his three-generation Hokage. Do not offer any help, do not pay any attention. In the depths of Konoha, at the root of the darkness, Danzo laughed loudly while holding the information, ha ha ha. God help me too. Sure enough, the Uchiha clan is a troubled clan. Each of them is full of uncertain factors and must be eliminated. However, now that Uchiha Shun is still useful. Come here, pass my order. We have an obligation to protect every Konoha ninja, and we must not let them suffer any unfair treatment. So protect Uchiha Shun and bring him to see me. Yes. A few dark shadows left quickly. At the same time, on the edge of Konoha village, in the secret room of the Uchiha clan, Fukucho and several elders are having heated discussions. The fourth elder roared loudly, "It's too much to deceive people, we are the founders of Konoha, and they squeezed us out." The third elder's face was gloomy. Recently, a few members of the tribe disappeared for no reason. No one was seen when they were born, and no corpse was seen when they died. HMPH, isn't it because they are greedy for the boundaries of our clan's blood inheritance? The second elder was furious. How many times have I explained that Nine Tails is not under our control at all, but they still refuse to believe it. The Thousand Hands clan has disappeared, and the next one must be us. No, we must resist. The elder said meaningfully. Fukucho, you are the patriarch, what do you think? Fukucho cursed secretly. The old fox, didn't he want him to jump out and take the blame? How could it be possible for people like the Uchiha clan to compete against the entire Konoha? Besides, without the support of the daimyo, without the mission and funding, even if the rebellion succeeds, how long can Hokage sit in the position? Didn't they want him to take the lead in the rebellion, and finally push him out as a scapegoat in exchange for benefits? I think that Zishui has just opened his eyes and is not enough to deal with the power of the shadow class. Now we should make false claims with them and buy time for Zishui. At the same time. Boom. The fourth elder slapped the table angrily. Fukucho, what do you mean? Do you look down on our Uchiha clan? Think about that person. Zishui already has the same eyes as him, so there is nothing to be afraid of. The third elder. That's right, that's right. Do you want to watch your clansmen sacrifice without doing anything? The great elder nodded in satisfaction. Fukucho, this matter is urgent, we. Boom. The door of the secret room was pushed open abruptly, and Uchiha Dazzling rushed in covered in blood. Second elder, it's not good, Chishan, he. What's wrong with Kashan? The second elder stood up suddenly, grabbed Yaoyang and asked, quickly tell me, what happened to him? The first elder Uchiha Tenyu glared at the second elder with displeasure, and said with a little reluctance, this is the end of today's meeting. Dazzling, what do you think happened to Kashan? The second elder, Uchiha Chuan, was his younger brother, and his only son died in the Third Ninja War. Only one grandson of Uchiha Chizun was left, and he was afraid of melting in his mouth since he was a child, so he crawled on the ground and knocked. The care was added, which also led to the problem of Kishin's rampant. He had no choice but to send a Sangoyu Shangren from the clan to protect him. But like this, it further fueled Chishan's arrogance. Kashan. Uchiha Yaoyang hesitated for a moment, and finally said tremblingly, He is dead. What? Uchiha Chuan shook his body, and stepped back 3 steps. Kushan is dead. This is the only blood in his lineage. No, it's impossible. He has never been out of Konoha, and under the protection of you, a Jonin. Who can kill him? Who dares to kill him? Uchiha Yaoyong looked at the enraged second elder, couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of spit, and fell to his knees. Master, he was walking in the village as usual, and happened to meet a commoner who couldn't control chakra and was practicing. I gave him some advice, but he was caught by the traitor Uchiha Shun, who used a kind of ninjutsu that had never been seen before, suddenly rushed out and captured him on the spot. I couldn't help jumping out. Li Zan wanted to save the young master, but was seriously injured on the spot by his extremely fast new ninjutsu. Then, regardless of my obstruction, kill the young master. Silence, dead silence. The 4 elders and Fukcho all stared coldly at the dazzling Uchiha who was kneeling on the ground. The endless coercion made him feel as if he had fallen into the cold winter of Sanju. Icy bones. The great elder's eyes moved. Someone is here. Ha! Uchiha Chuan took out kunai and swung it down quickly, cutting off Uchiha's dazzling head instantly. Blood spurted continuously like a fountain, and dyed a large area of the ground red in an instant. Swish, 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 4 ninjas wearing animal masks appeared in front of them, without even looking at the corpse on the ground. By the order of Lord Hokage, we want to take Uchiha Shun away, and we have an important task for him. Impossible. Uchiha Chuan leaned forward, and the strong murderous aura caused ripples in the blood on the ground. He killed my only grandson, he must die. So, you Uchiha clan are going to disobey Lord Hokage's orders. The leading masked ninja said darkly. You can think about it. Are you threatening me? Uchiha Chuan shook his body, but was pressed down by the great elder Uchiha Tenyu. Is this what Hokage-sama means? Of course. The leading ninja stood proudly. We, Anbu, only obey Hokage-sama. Anyone who dares to disobey the order will be regarded as treason. Kill without mercy. You. Uchiha Chuan was furious. Brother, order. Uchiha Tenyu instantly opened his scarlet blood eyes, scanned the audience, and finally stopped on Uchiha Chuan's face. Trash, can you say this at this time? Do you want to kill it? According to legend, only by killing the closest person can the cursed eye be opened. The powerful momentum made everyone present terrified. This momentum is not at the shadow level, it's almost the same. 1 second, 2 seconds. The 4 masked ninjas tightly clasped the signal transmitters in their sleeves, their palms covered in cold sweat. If the Uchiha clan rebelled, they must pass the news back as soon as possible. And Fukcho and the other 3 elders also had their hearts beating faster, their muscles tensed, and they were nervously waiting for the final choice of fate. However, after one breath, Uchiha Tenyu's eyes returned to normal. Okay, I'll go and visit Hokage-sama in person later. I hope he gives me a perfect explanation. Call. Everyone let out a sigh of relief, and the leading masked ninja glanced at Uchiha Tenyu with disdain, turned and left. Danzo-sama is right, the Uchiha clan is really a disaster, and they dare to go to Hokage and ask him to give an explanation. Must be removed. Uchiha Chuan clenched his hands into fists. Don't we just forget about it? Ha! Uchiha Tenyu looked at the 4 heads on Hokage Cliff. As the patriarch said, the time has not come yet. And at this moment, we have to unite all the clansmen in order to regain our Konoha, do you understand? Uchiha Chuan suddenly realized. Yes, I understand. Yes, now that the rebellion is imminent, no matter what the reason is, beheading the tribe in public is a blow to morale. Therefore, like those mysteriously missing clansmen, let him disappear without anyone noticing. At this moment, Uchiha Shun, who just walked out of the barbecue shop with Ershao, also met 2 ninjas wearing animal masks. Hokage has an order, come with us. Why can they be so natural, no one else, only familiar? First of all, they are indeed from Anbu, but they were inserted by Danzo. Secondly, not everyone is Naruto, you can see Hokage if you want, let alone confront him face to face. Besides, even if there are fools to confront them, they are not afraid, because based on their experience, the 3rd generation will answer for them every time. Finally, after entering the roots, do you still want to find the 3rd generation? Impossible, either die or surrender. Uchiha raised his eyes and glanced at them. Are you from Danzo? He doesn't believe it. With the indecisive character of the third generation, he will protect him at this time, although he is also a chess piece for the third generation to win over the Uchiha clan. Bold. Sure enough, the civet masked man between the two of them was furious. How dare you call your lord by his name, it is unforgivable. If the hands are sealed, it is necessary to forcefully take down Uchiha Shun. And Shun didn't sit still, he sneered contemptuously and was ready to fight back. He didn't care if this place was a busy city, and he didn't care what the other villagers thought of him for defying Anbu's order. But, suddenly shouted, "Fire escape Howlong fire technique." A huge fire dragon with a diameter of more than 3 meters appeared out of thin air and attacked the two masked ninjas. What? The two were shocked. Who in Konoha would dare to openly attack Anbu? Aren't you afraid of being labeled a traitor? Looking up, a pair of blood-red eyes came into view. Oops. The two yelled secretly at the same time. It seems that the information was wrong, and Uchiha Shun was not a traitor at all. No, this information must be passed on to the adults. Gritting his teeth, the civet cat masked man stood in front of another ninja, and forcibly swallowed an illusion Gahang technique that the second elder had shot with hatred. Instant severe pain flooded his mind, and his limbs seemed to be pierced by nails, unable to move. Then it was swallowed by the raging fire dragon and turned into fly ash. But his sacrifice was still useful. Another ninja reluctantly formed a seal quickly, escaped and disappeared with a substitute technique. HMPH. Second elder Uchiha Chuan snorted coldly, as if deliberately letting him go without knowing it. Oh, Uchiha Fukucho appeared from behind the second elder with a blank face, and he was the one who released the powerful fire dragon technique just now. These two are spies from other villages. They deliberately pretended to be Anbu and sent orders privately, with the intention of stealing the blood eyes of my Uchiha clan. Fortunately, Uchiha Shun, a member of the tribe, sacrificed himself, designed to lead out, and avoided losses. You will be rewarded for your meritorious service. Now you are promoted to the captain of the 5th team of the police force. You will report tomorrow. Didn't Hokage want to save you, so we deliberately killed Anbu in public, and pushed the reason to you to promote you. Even if the 3 generations don't believe it, this matter will definitely leave a shadow in his heart. Uchiha raised his eyebrows for a moment. Hee, where did this song come from? It's fine if you don't come to find revenge, and get rid of Danzo for him. Yes, nodded and replied, okay. This is actually a beautiful misunderstanding. Fukucho and others know that Danzo has great power, but Anbu has always been the direct subordinate of Hokage, and he cannot join unless he is a close friend. And Uchiha Shun himself is regarded as a traitor, and has a good relationship with Asuma, the son of the 3rd generation, and it is normal for the 3rd generation to come forward to protect him. But Shun, as a time traveler, knows the personality of the 3rd Hokage very well, so it is easy to guess that this is what Danzo did. So there was a misunderstanding. Seeing Uchiha Shun's easy agreement, the second elder was taken aback for a moment, then gave him a vicious look, turned and left. Boy, if you dare to cut off my bloodline, I will definitely make you unable to live or die. Oh, Uchiha Fukucho sighed again, patted Shun on the shoulder, shook his head, and left without saying anything. Shun looked at his back and grinned. Is this Fukucho interesting? I don't know if he has opened the eyes of blood wheels, and what is his ability. Let's go, Xiao Li, eat and drink enough, I will start teaching you how to practice as a teacher. Oh yeah, Rock Lee jumped up excitedly. Before he suffered Kai's tea poison, he was quite normal. The 3 of them quickly came to a remote training ground, took out a marrow washing pill and threw it to Xiao Li, take it. As for Shu, the white-haired kid who woke up halfway, he didn't give it to him, nor did he have the slightest idea of taking him as his apprentice. After all, his aptitude is not enough to trigger the return crit, but let him follow around as a follower. Lock Lee took the marrow washing pill and put it in his mouth without asking any questions. Humph. In an instant, a muffled groan came out of his mouth, and a strange force kept wandering in his body. While cutting the marrow in the Book of Changes, it was also repairing the hidden wounds left by him due to forced cultivation. Muscle remodeling, bone regeneration. The severe pain made his veins bulge, and big beads of sweat fell from his face to the ground. Take a breath, 2 breaths. Even so, except for the initial muffled grunt, he didn't make any begging or roaring. For his dream of becoming a ninja, he can endure anything. Time passed by little, and Rock Lee couldn't stand up straight anymore, but was like a cooked prawn, arched his back, and gasped for breath incessantly. Whoosh. Master, it's finally healed, can I start practicing now? Uchiha Shun nodded in satisfaction. It has to be said that Xiao Li's willpower is really tenacious, or the people in Hokage are very tenacious. Just when he was about to speak, the voice of the system suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding, you help your apprentice, Rock Lee, cleanse his essence, improve his aptitude, trigger 100 times crit and get back. Congratulations on getting strength plus 300, constitution plus 500, speed plus 200, recovery plus 50%. Receive it. Is this also possible? Uchiha Shun's expression instantly became very exciting. Gone. If he knew this earlier, what else would he eat? It would be fine if he gave it to his disciples. Why should he suffer so hard? Take a deep breath and calm down. You go down first, take a shower, and practice again tomorrow morning. Rock Lee sniffed slightly, and a stench rushed in, choking him so much that he almost fainted. He lowered his head and looked at himself. At some point, his whole body was already covered with a layer of dark and viscous liquid, which was constantly exuding a strong smell. He scratched his head foolishly. I'll go right here, master, wait for me. Looking at his leaving back, Uchiha Shun didn't think too much, get the reward. Boom. In an instant, a tyrannical force injected into his body, and quickly spread to all limbs and bones. Then a terrifying air wave suddenly burst out from under his feet, reaching the sky. I saw the howling wind, the smoke and dust spurting, and the countless bushes seemed to be swept away by some huge force, and the whole piece fell to the ground. The worst one was Shu, who was overturned and blown away dozens of meters without any reaction, and stared at all this in a daze. My heart trembled. This is a person, not a monster. The tyrannical force flooded Uchiha and couldn't help swinging a punch. Boom. The earth shattered and the soil flew up. In Shu's sluggish eyes, Uchiha Shun's punch abruptly changed the surrounding terrain of more than 100 meters. If this punch hits someone, it will be smashed into blood immediately. This punch was even more powerful than Tsunade, one of the Sannin who was known for his strange power he had seen before. It's really terrifying. Uchiha retracted his fist in satisfaction. Yes, 100 times is already like this, and 1,000 times, 10,000 times still haven't taken off. Wait, now is not the time to be exposed. Quickly grab Shu and Xiao Li, and quickly disappear. Although Shun tried his best to find a remote place to avoid being disturbed, such a violent roar still attracted the attention of many high-level and powerful people in Konoha. The third generation was observing whether there were any ninjas from other countries hiding in the bathroom. His hands trembled, and he quickly manipulated the telescope to find the sound. Looking at the devastated land, Sanday's face became very ugly. It wasn't the detonating talisman, but the marks seemed to be caused by something violent. In the eventful autumn, Rizan became a little older in an instant, the fourth generation died young, and the next generation did not grow up. The huge Konoha was supported by an old man alone, and he was really tired. But no matter what, he must protect this rare piece. Where the flames dance, the fire is endless. Deep in Konoha, at the root, Danzo frowned, as Tsunade back. No, this power is more penetrating, more like pure flesh, rather than the explosive power caused by Tsunade's use of chakra. Terrible, who on earth is able to reach such a level with only strength? Come here, let me carefully investigate the strange people who have recently entered the village. In the Hyuga family, Hyuga Hyuzu put a cup of tea into his mouth. Bai Fang was forced to commit suicide, Orochimaru, one of the Sannin, defected, the Senju clan disappeared, and the Uchiha clan was about to rebel. Then suddenly a mysterious strong man appeared. What should he do for the Hyuga family? Fukucho, the Yamanaka clan, the Nara clan, the Akamichi clan, and the Yu clan. Countless patriarchs and powerful people resorted to various methods to investigate, and Konoha, which was calm for a while, became an undercurrent. But all of this has nothing to do with his Uchiha Shun. He was leading Rock Lee and Shu happily towards his small courtyard. It can be said that it was very quiet along the way, and even every clansman who saw him ran away in horror. The fact that he killed the second elder's grandson has already been passed on to everyone. Who dares to come forward to talk, don't want to live. The three of them pushed open the courtyard door and looked at the wooden house that had turned into ruins. Rock Lee asked stupidly. Master, did you offend someone? Shun Uchiha. He suddenly felt a little regretful. Wasn't Xiao Li's performance in the original work mainly due to Kai's influence? You talk too much, go to sleep. A blasting hammer hit Xiao Li on the head, and Shun found a wooden board and clothes to sleep at random. Xiao Li and Shu looked at each other, and found a place to lie down and rest helplessly. The next day, noon. Rock Lee squatted in front of Uchiha Shun. Master, why are you still awake? The sun is already drying your butt. Master, I'm so hungry. Master, you said you taught me how to practice today, when will it start? Master, I want to do push-ups. Uchiha Shun, who was sleeping soundly, always felt like there were countless mosquitoes flying around his ears, buzzing and buzzing, making it extremely noisy. He wiped his mouth helplessly, opened his eyes, and saw a pair of delighted eyes staring straight at him. Stretch calmly. Okay, not bad, it's another beautiful day. Then, as a teacher, I will teach you the 6 secret skills now, watch it. Shave. With a stamped foot, he appeared 10 meters away in an instant. The gist of this move is to continuously step on the ground at high speed in an instant, and use the reaction force to move at high speed, giving people a feeling of instant movement. Shun was demonstrating and explaining, while Li Luok was learning and trying. And he is worthy of being a natural master of physical skills. After more than an hour of pointing, he has already grasped the basics. Ding, you gave your apprentice the 6th form of the Navy, triggering the return of quality. Congratulations, you have obtained the Zilong inheritance. Zilong, Saint Seiya. Listening to the familiar voice in his mind, Uchiha couldn't help showing a joyful smile. Not bad, how fast this came. Others have to practice hard and collect points when they travel through time, but he only needs to take out the precepts and teach his disciples. What a wonderful feeling it will be. Uchiha Shun, who had an experience once, asked Li Luok and Shu, who had a bruised nose and a swollen face, to go out and buy breakfast for him. And he closed his eyes and said silently, withdraw the reward. Ding, the Zilong inheritance is being distributed. In an instant, his consciousness was plunged into darkness. Zilong, one of the Bronze 5 Little Strongs, has a bold personality, loyalty and trustworthiness, and followed Tong Hu to practice in Lucian since he was a child. After obtaining the Saint Cloth of Draco, he participated in the Galaxy War, got acquainted with Seiya and other partners, and then broke into the sanctuary, fought in the sea world, and wandered in the underworld. Fighting with his life, his strength became stronger and stronger. Physical skills. Sonic Finger, Sonic Fist, Acupuncture. Dragon Power. Lin, Transforming Dragon, Inspiration. Must Kill. Lucian Rising Dragon Ba, Lucian Dragon Flying. Profound Truth. Mount Lu's Strong Dragon Ba, Lucian's Beilong Ba, and the Invincible Holy Sword. Figures merged into his mind, movements merged into his body, and a strange belief ran through his thinking. One promise, 1,000 gold, will only rest until death. Time seems to have passed in an instant, and it seems that a century has passed. Uchiha Shun slowly opened his eyes, and the blue light in his eyes flickered. With a leap of the body, he jumped high, his hands slid in the air, a huge green dragon roared from behind, the birds flew in fright, and all the beasts panicked. The scorching power in the body reached its peak at this moment, as if a huge wave was about to sweep out. Rising Dragon on Lucian Mountain. Uchiha Shun. Suddenly the gate of the courtyard was kicked open, and 2 Uchiha clansmen rushed in angrily. It made us wait all morning in vain, to see if we are not doing well. Lesson. Teach. Lesson. Uchiha Yoji and Uchiha Juchi fell to their knees without any hesitation. Brother, no, Dad. Your lord has a lot, please spare us, we don't know. The 2 of them were originally arranged by the second elder to shun subordinates to monitor him. I never thought that the 2 of them were waiting left and right in the security room, but Uchiha Shun never came to report and took them away. That's why I came to the small courtyard angrily, wanting to vent my anger on Uchiha, but I never thought that I saw this scene just after I came in, and I was scared to pee on the spot. They are all ninjas who have been carefully cultivated and strictly trained by the family. No matter how horrible things are, they will only go forward bravely and will not be afraid. Unless you can't help it. Mom, with that momentum just now, what is the Nine Tails disaster? In front of him, he can only be a younger brother. Second elder, it's not that we don't want to, it's because the enemy is too powerful, we can only kneel down. When he wanted to be alone with Dao, he couldn't hide his eyes. Uchiha immediately squeezed his fists and came to the two of them. When I give you 10 seconds, tell me a reason why I won't kill you. He was in high spirits, and when he was about to perform his new stunt, he was interrupted by two bugs. Unforgivable, although he still needs to thank the two of them, otherwise this punch will go on, let alone Konoha, the whole ninja world will probably have his legend. I'll say it. Yoji Uchiha told the second elder's plan without any hesitation. My lord, that fool Uchihagawa sent the two of us to monitor you and let us lure you to the number 29 training ground. It is said that he has laid a net there, waiting for your appearance. There are more, Uchiha Shuichi hurriedly said. They thought you were from the third generation. In order to delay the time, I asked my subordinates to pretend to be you and steal Hokage's sealed book. It doesn't matter if it succeeds or not, the main reason is to drive a wedge between you and the third generation. The two of them knew everything and talked endlessly, and they almost explained when the second elder went to the second widow in the village. It was because Uchiha's aura just now was too amazing that they couldn't afford any resistance. Okay, Shun nodded. Since he invited me so sincerely, I will show mercy and go see him. You two, lead the way. He didn't want to be so ostentatious at first, although his physical strength is already very strong, but there are too many mysterious ninjutsu in Naruto. For example, other gods can change a person's thinking, or when walking, a magical power suddenly comes out, and half of the body is outside and half of the body is teleported away. Or one day the third generation thinks that he is really a dangerous person, and he will give up his life and insist on using the ghoul seal. What is the ending, I guess only God knows. Not to mention the perverted ninjutsu densely packed in the Book of Seals, who knows what is recorded in it. But he was interrupted from trying out the new moves, and he was really suffocated with evil fire. Do not spit too fast. Under the cautious leadership of Yoji and Shuichi, the three of them soon came to a forest on the edge of Konoha, which was the sparsely populated number 29 training ground. There are not too many places like this in Konoha. A large number of civilians die or disappear in it every year, but the high-level officials have always turned a blind eye. At this moment, the second elder was making arrangements for the three of them with his back turned. Hey, Uchiha Shun came to his side with a shaved step, and asked curiously, Elder, what are you doing? Nonsense. The second elder scolded angrily, of course it's setting up a barrier. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruza, that pervert, always observes with a crystal ball, making people unable to sleep peacefully. What's more, we will capture that traitor Uchiha Shun and torture him for a while. Of course, we must set up an enchantment to prevent others from disturbing him. Hey, wait, the second elder looked back at Shun, frowning, I didn't tell you to steal the sealed book, why are you still here? Uchiha Shun suddenly became very anxious about his IQ, and it is no wonder that the majestic Uchiha clan will be wiped out. With someone like this as a leader, it would be strange if he couldn't die. Patted him on the shoulder, because I am the traitor you were looking for. Second elder, looking back at the trembling Uchiha Yoji and Shuichi, he was furious. 8 awkward, traitors, you are all traitors. Yoji, Shui, you actually told him all about my plan, aren't you afraid of my revenge? Yoji glanced at the second elder, then at Shun, and resolutely gave up on the former, opened the barrier, and wrapped several people inside. My lord, now is the best time to get rid of him. Seeing such a plot, the second elder was even more furious. Just because of you stinky fish and rotten shrimps, you want to challenge me. Okay, I'll show you what an insurmountable gap is. Form seals with both hands, Siwei Shen Hai Wu Yin, fire escape, the skill of fireball. A fireball about 1 meter in diameter slowly flew towards the three of them. Shun Uchiha, Yoji Uchiha, Uchiha Juchi. That's it. That's the power of the dignified second elder's one-style ninjutsu. It's really embarrassing for Uchiha, who is famous for his fire escape. Shun tilted his head, raised his left hand, and swiped lightly. The sharp sword edge instantly split the fireball and went straight to the second elder. The esoteric meaning taught to Zilong by Shira, the golden saint of Capricornus, holy sword. The second elder turned over to dodge clumsily. He was in a high position, and his body had been emptied by drinking and having fun every day. He took out his only shuriken from his bosom and flung it out, and at the same time formed a seal again, Ziyin Shucho Mao Yin, Huo Dun, Feng Xian Hua Claw is red. Hehe, kid, this is an extremely rare B-level ninjutsu, let's see what you do this time. The turbulent flames attached to the flying shuriken, making it mixed with scorching heat like impatience scattered all over the sky to attack the instant. B-level ninjutsu can be said to be a very good ninjutsu in the entire ninja world. You must know that even Uchiha Madara's extinguishing fire, dragon flame singing, etc., are only B-level. But this ninjutsu is used in the hands of the second elder, the power is really weak and pathetic. Shun didn't even bother to dodge this time, but released an invisible lin chi from all parts of his body, wrapped his whole body, and walked forward slowly. Long Li, Lin, boom, one after another, shurikens with raging flames hit Shun's body, but he didn't even scratch the corner of his clothes. The second elder stared at this scene dumbfounded. Impossible. This is a B-level ninjutsu, how could it be useless? Illusion, this must be an illusion. But no matter whether it was him biting the tip of his tongue, or chakra rushing wildly, Shun resisted his ninjutsu without any change, and walked in front of him. You. The second elder stretched out his finger and was about to speak. PFF. Suddenly, a pain came out of his heart, and the great elder Uchiha Tenyu stared at the scarlet blood eyes and said, "Waste." Hisangoyu in his eyes began to tremble violently, but he couldn't go any further. He really loves his younger brother, and it is because of his help all these years that he turned this trash into the second elder. But after years of being in a high position, he gradually lost himself and lost his original heart. Blood gushed out of Uchiha Kawaguchi, and he turned his head tremblingly. After seeing that it was his own brother, he let out a long sigh of relief. Hoo-hoo, yes, you, brother, brother. As soon as he closed his eyes, he had already opened the three-hook jade when he opened it, but just when Shun thought he would perform some pupil technique and was dying. The second elder closed his eyes and handed over. Tianyu's eyes trembled even more violently, and 2 lines of blood and tears ran across his desolate cheeks. Brother. His parents died in battle, and his elder brother became his father. He can be said to have brought up the second elder with a handful of shit and urine. But I don't know if it is because he is too spoiled, which makes him very weak. He had no choice but to climb up to the top step by step. He hoped to protect his younger brother. But all this is over today. He squeezed his younger brother's blood-wheel eyes, took a deep breath, and said to Shun. The upper echelons of Konoha are jealous of the boundaries of our clan's blood inheritance, and deliberately squeezed out, and countless clan members mysteriously disappeared. As a last resort, we decided to rebel. Now that Uchihagawa has disregarded the overall situation, privately mutilated his fellow clan and undermined our clan's plan, he should be punished. The current strength of Uchiha Shun is superb, and he was appointed to take over the position of the second elder when he was in danger. I hope you will lead the family to glory. Do you agree? Uchiha was silent for a moment. The night of Uchiha extermination, was it really as simple as Itachi said? With him alone, he killed thousands of clansmen and hundreds of ninjas, including many Sengoyu elite JNIN. Or do the Uchiha clan really want to rebel? Perhaps the truth of the matter is far from that simple. Nodding his head, he replied instantly, okay. Turned around and left. True or false, if he didn't have the corresponding strength, he might have died that night. Now you must quickly become stronger and break free. Back in the small courtyard, he withdrew his playfulness and began to teach Li Luok with his heart, and the time passed peacefully day after day like this. Until a month later, Konoha Ninja School, on the playground. Rock Lee put on a pose and stretched out his finger. Ningji, accept my one-on-one challenge. This time, I won't lose. Childish. Ningji Hyuga turned around arrogantly. He would not compete with someone who couldn't even control chakra. Well, not once, the previous 100 times were all fake. Are you afraid? Rock Lee continued to provoke. If you are afraid, you will obediently admit defeat and turn around from my crotch. Don't worry, I won't tell everyone. The sound was super loud, not to mention the playground, the whole school might be able to hear it. The veins on Hyuga's forehead popped out. Why can't he, Xiao Li, understand that people can't resist fate? Why did he refuse to admit defeat? Wouldn't it be good to be a commoner obediently? Why does he have to be a ninja to die on the battlefield? Doesn't he know that after each class of ninja graduates, there will be no 1 out of 10? Since you're looking for a fight, don't blame me. Ningxi was furious. No matter how hard he tried, he was separated and could not escape the fate of being engraved as a bird in a cage. This made him very angry at Xiao Li's unyielding behavior. Turning around and punching, the strong anger made both fists covered with a thick layer of chakra. Yes, that's it, Rock Lee shouted excitedly, paper painting. The muscles of the whole body relax, and they move in the direction of the air fluctuations. With a slight tilt of the head, they escape Neji's furious blow. What? Ningxi was shocked. What kind of ninjutsu is this? How has he never seen it? While swinging his fist, Xiao Li tapped his toes lightly, and his body was floating in the air like a thin piece of paper. 1 punch, 2 punches, 3 punches. Ningxi swung dozens of punches unbelievingly, but he didn't even touch Xiao Li's clothes. Impossible. How is this possible? He who could hit the ground with just 2 light punches before, how could he not be able to touch with a single punch? Standing with both feet apart, knees slightly bent, a taiji gossip appeared on the soles of Ningxi's feet, soft boxing method Bagua Bazong. The strong chakra vibrations locked Xiao Li's body tightly, preventing him from changing his body shape, but he didn't panic at all. Instead, he shouted excitedly, iron block. The muscles were tense, and the whole body became a hole, as hard as steel. Bang 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 bang. A series of 8 muffled sounds sounded quickly, and Xiao Li took a step back, bleeding from the corner of his mouth. I resisted. He didn't understand why the master looked down on the iron block so much and repeatedly emphasized that he would not be allowed to practice, but he deeply liked this feeling and insisted on practicing. Sure enough, the 8 palms that would have knocked him to the ground as soon as they appeared before couldn't break through the iron block's defense at all. Ningxi looked at the nearly bent fingers, and looked at Xiao Li in disbelief. What kind of ninja method is this? Hey, Xiao Li jumped up and down. This is the secret technique my master taught me, the 6-style iron block. It's really easy to use, and the master also said that the soft boxing of the Hyuga family is an insult to the name of the soft boxing. Don't need at all, it's better to call Gangquan. I can't even go to the main battlefield, so I can only force a delayed plot. Unforgivable. Ningxi endured the severe pain of broken bones, clenched his fists, the veins in his eyes popped up, and the white eyes opened. I won't allow you to insult the Hyuga family in Rukwon. Our Hyuga clan is the most powerful family in Konoha. Soft boxing method 8 trigrams 16 palms. The Tai Chi gossip reappeared, but this time, Xiao Li didn't choose to fight hard. As soon as he stepped on his feet, his figure appeared outside the gossip in an instant. Shave. Impossible. Ningxi was shocked. How could anyone escape from his soft fist? This is impossible. But the chakra was already running, and at this moment he couldn't stop even if he wanted to. He was played by Xiao Li like a monkey, and he hit the air 16 times. As soon as it stopped, a vacuum slash hit his face. It was Xiao Li's land's feet, with his arms crossed in front of him. But it was still blown away by one blow and thrown high. Puff! A long bloody arrow spit out. What is this? He was a little confused. When did the suspension car that couldn't even control chakra become so strong? Xiao Li stood in front of Ningxi triumphantly. Of course it's physical arts, my teacher is amazing. Oh, by the way, my master said that the Hinata family's soft fist is just for show. If you want to learn the real soft fist, you can go to him. PFF'd. Ningxi spat out another mouthful of blood, and fainted gorgeously. The secret technique that his family refused to pass on easily even in the branch family, turned out to be just superficial in the eyes of the other party. Chapter 11. When Ningxi woke up again, it was already the afternoon of the second day. Silently came to the school, walked up to Li Luok. Who is your master? I want to see. He wanted to know what kind of strength this person who dared to directly insult his Hinata family's incompetent soft fist based in the ninja world could be so rampant. Moreover, for some reason, his intuition told him that maybe Master Xiao Li was right. Because from the beginning of his cultivation, He has always felt that this cultivation direction is not right, but he can't tell what is wrong. Huh, Lock Lee scratched his head. Master said, you will definitely go to him, it is true. Come with me. The two left the school, passed through Konoha, and walked further and further away. It was not until they came to the Uchiha residence outside Konoha that Neji suddenly realized. Your master is from Uchiha. His brows were tightly furrowed. Although he was still young, as a member of the family, he was precocious since he was a child, and everyone knew that Uchiha was about to rebel. Could it be that they sent their idea to Hyuga's house? But if that's the case, they should be looking for Hinata. Why are they looking for someone who is separated from him? Are you afraid? Li Luok asked Ning Si's nervous expression. Master said that if he didn't dare, forget it. Because a strong person must first have a fearless heart. Ning Si clenched his fists with both hands. Fearless, so fearless, but when facing fate, who can do anything? Revolt. It's not that he hasn't tried it before, it's his destiny to be born in a separate family and to devote his whole life to the clan family. HMPH. Ning Si stepped forward with a serious face. Who said I'm afraid? Go, I'll go to see your master here. I want to see, who dares to say that my Hyuga family's soft fist practice is wrong. Under the attention of everyone in the Uchiha clan, the two soon came to Shun's small courtyard and stopped. Ning Si looked up at the thin wooden door in front of him, as if he saw countless blood gushing out of it, as if telling himself. Once this door is opened, he will open the hell, and there will be no redemption. Taking a deep breath, Neji was still unwilling to give in the end. Even if he stepped into hell, he still wanted to fight against fate again. Slowly pushing open the wooden door, I saw a man lying on a rocking chair, basking in the sun leisurely. Next to him are two ninjas who look like dog legs. Yoji and Shuichi are fanning him and handing him fruits. Neji. He was very suspicious. Did he go to the wrong door? He is your master. Master. Xiao Li flew over happily and threw himself into Shun's arms. I brought Neji here. You promised to teach me Lucian to ascend the dragon, you can't break your promise. Oops. Xiao Li suddenly swooped on him. The grape seed got stuck in his trachea, lay on the side and patted his chest and coughed. Ah, cough, cough. Vomit. After tossing and tossing for a while, he coughed up the grape seeds, and when he went up to face Xiao Li, he was a blaster. How many times have I told you, don't just fly and fly when you have nothing to do. It will kill people. Ma, yes, Xiao Li is good at everything, he cultivates hard, respects his teacher, but I don't know if it is because he has never experienced fatherly love. Every time I saw him, I just swooped and hit Shun's stomach, which was very uncomfortable. Good lesson to Li. Uchiha looked up and down at Neji who was standing sluggishly by the side, and nodded in satisfaction. Yes, this qualification is not the A level he thought, but the S level. No wonder, without any teaching from the clan, he realized the genius ninja of 8 diagrams, 102 8 palms and Huishin. Unfortunately, under the teasing of fate, he was forced to die in the end. He was also the only one of Konoha 12 Xiaoqiang who died. Even Kai, who opened the 8 doors, was forcibly rescued, but no one wanted to revive Neji. It seems that everything about this person should be forgotten, as if the family is separated, it should be sacrificed for the clan. With his hands behind his back, his chin raised slightly, his eyes narrowed slightly facing the huge sun, he asked instantly. Ning Si, are you willing to worship me as a teacher? Ning Si quietly took a step back. Why should I worship you as my teacher? He doesn't want to get involved in the Uchiha villain Konoha, let alone the entire Hinata family, especially the master Xiao Li who seems very unreliable. Although he doesn't know his specific strength, Neji has no impression of him at all, so it is impossible for him to designate Jonin. And the Uchiha family is famous for their fire escape and blood wheel eyes, so it is impossible to understand the soft fist of the Hyuga family. Hey, Uchiha sighed instantly. Didn't it mean that once the arrogance of domineering dissipated, everyone would kneel down and beg for mercy? How did he change here? All right, stand with your legs shoulder width apart. Inhale, straighten your hands, press down slowly, and hold the ball with both hands, a watermelon. Slowly turn sideways, half raise the arms, raise the legs, and straighten the arms, cut in half. The body moves with the hips, like an open bow, with arms bent, slightly forward, you half, I half. Neji, what is this ghost? Slowly, I am afraid that even the Konoha villagers who are not ninjas can't beat them. Disappointed, he turned and left. It seems that fate really cannot be changed. Try punching me, Shun Zai Ningqi said the moment he turned around. Ning Si frowned, hesitated for a long time, then suddenly turned around and punched. This punch concentrated all the chakra in his body, and this punch contained his abhorrence for the injustice of fate. Shun smiled slightly. He didn't know Ruquan. He had only practiced Tai Chi with the old man in his previous life, but the boxing techniques of Hyuga's family obviously had nothing to do with Ruquan. Stretching out his hand, Chakra pulled the filament and wrapped it around Richi's wrist. Wrap. The body retreated, the arms drove the wrists to twist, and the layers of chakra lines completely restrained Neji's angry blow. Zip. Ning Si was shocked and wanted to back away, but his wrist was tightly entangled, and he couldn't tear it apart, break it, or bounce it off. If he wanted to leave, he had to give up his entire right hand. Gritting his teeth, he thrust his feet firmly into the ground, trying to stop his figure, but at this moment, Kei-shun withdrew the pulling force on him, stood up and kicked. Boom! A kick hit his chest, and he was sent flying upside down for more than 10 meters, rolling on the ground continuously. Standing up, Ning Si's mouth was bleeding, he held his chest and stubbornly moved forward again, soft boxing Bagua 16 palms. This is the strongest ninjutsu he knows so far. But Shun just leaned over slightly, drew a semicircle with his left hand from bottom to top, and interrupted Neji's attack. At the same time, 5 fingers were bent, resting on Ning Si's wrist. 8 of his great strength was instantly relieved, and then he pulled gently, and his center of gravity was unstable, and he immediately leaned forward. At this moment, instantly raise your legs and step up, unite your waist and horse, and bend your arms to your shoulders. Tai Chi, use your strength to strike. Ning Si was knocked into the air, and he collapsed on the ground. At this moment, he seemed to have caught something. Regardless of the pain, he got up suddenly. What kind of ninjutsu is this? Uchiha Shun spread his feet apart, slightly wider than shoulder width, one hand slowly upward, the other slowly downward, forcing Grammon, Tai Chi. Ning Si's eyes were flooded, and he knelt down on the ground with a plop. Master, please be respected by apprentice. At this moment, the division of the clan, the strongest family in Konoha, all became unimportant. At this moment, a new door slowly opened for him. Okay, Uchiha nodded instantly. Since you worship me as your teacher, then I will teach you the 13 Tai Chi moves. The first form, the immortal releases the sword. Separate your legs into 8 steps, bend your knees, embrace your chest with your hands, sink your shoulders, retract your abdomen, and collapse your waist. Second style, Chenkin dribble. Take a big stride, turn your toes outward, shift your center of gravity to the left, turn your right hand down, and hold your left hand empty. The third form, the beauty looks in the mirror. Step into the left front side door with the left foot, make a left bow step, and put the left arm on the rack. Fourth form, fifth form, form number 13. Do you remember everything? Uchiha Shun unreservedly demonstrated and explained the 13 Tai Chi moves he learned from the old man, and finally added. This punch focuses on the mind rather than the form, and the intention does not use force. When you have forgotten all the moves, it is time to learn. Immeasurable heavenly venerable, Wuji can't do anything, all dharmas are naturally Tai Chi. Looking at Shaoli and Yoji, Shoyi looked confused. What is this soft and slow thing? Can it really kill people? How do you feel that anyone who comes here can knock him down with a single punch? However, Ning Si was very excited, and seemed to realize something, and practiced on the spot in the small courtyard, and it was intermittent at the beginning, sometimes shaking his head and sometimes joyful. Gradually, his movements became very coherent, and a vague aura gradually rose from his body. It turned into a wave of air, surrounding him and involving everything around him. All leaves, weeds, and even the air change with the dancing of his hands. Ding, you teach your apprentice, Hanada Ningji, Tai Chi 13 forms, help him comprehend it, trigger 10,000 times critical strike and return it. Congratulations on obtaining the true meaning of Tai Chi. Are you receiving it? This is special, is it okay? Uchiha listened to the familiar voice in his mind. He just taught a hand of Tai Chi that he learned from the old man in his previous life. Install a 13 at the end. Can this trigger a crit return? Needless to say, Ningxi's comprehension is fine. Turning his head to look at Shaoli, his eyes are shining, thinking about the boxing techniques that are familiar to everyone in his previous life, such as Kunquan, Bajiquan, and Xingyiquan. This disciple has more points, and has more comprehension, isn't it necessary to send out? Receive. In an instant, his soul was plunged into darkness again, and suddenly a black light and a white light emerged from his mind. There is me in you, and you in me. The water and milk are blended and distinct, blending in the constant rotation, separating, blending, and separating. The mysteries are endless. He was dazzled for an instant, and finally black and white turned into two yin and yang fishes that merged into his body and disappeared. Boom! A momentum of Hunyuan freely pierced into the sky, swept across Konoha, but disappeared in an instant, making people feel as if hallucinations appeared. Tai Chi combines yin and yang, combining hardness and softness, with the body of a mortal, the method of a palm celestial being. At this moment, the seemingly ordinary Uchiha Shunmi has reached the realm of returning to nature. It can be said that the true meaning of Tai Chi returned as far stronger than Zilong's inheritance. Muya Village, Hokage Office, Sandai looked up in astonishment. Although the aura just now was contained but not expressed, it blew across his face like a spring breeze, but his heart was as cold as winter. It was an aura that he could only feel in the first generation, everything was just a whisk. Clenching your hands tightly, is it really necessary to use that forbidden technique? Let the dead come back. No, as long as there is a threat to Konoha, he must kill it. Danzo frowned. This aura was completely different from the previous fierceness, but vaguely, it seemed to be stronger. Could it be that some other master came to Konoha? Sarutobi, is it yours? How many things have you done behind my back? If he had been bolder back then, wouldn't the position of Hokage be his now? Hinata Hidatsu looked up at the sky. What just happened? Uchiha Fukucho opened Shueilunyan suspiciously, worried. The water in Konoha was really deep, and he was not at all sure that he could succeed in rebelling. But it is clear that Konoha was jointly founded by their Uchiha clan and Senju clan, so why is there no Hokage from their Uchiha clan? And now they are being squeezed out of the top management. No, they can't sit still. Otherwise, it would disappear mysteriously like the Thousand Hands clan. Just when Konoha's high-level executives were taking actions because of Uchiha Shun's explosive momentum again, his courtyard also ushered in a group of uninvited guests. Boom! The gate of the small courtyard that had just been installed was kicked away again, and a group of Uchiha ninjas appeared in front of several people. I don't agree. Why can he be the second elder with Jade suspension? It was just a while ago that I saw him and Asma hooking each other shoulder to shoulder. It must be the third generation who inserted into our clan's eyeliner. Traitor, tell me, did you unite with the third generation to assassinate the second elder? I want to fight you. The loser kneels down to the winner and begs for mercy. Yes, let him commit suicide to apologize to the second elder. A group of former second elder's subordinates and idiots who were dazzled by the benefits, under the instigation of some caring people, killed Shun in front of him. Ha ha ha. Covering his face instantly, he laughed loudly. I have been waiting for you for a month, and you just came. You really let me. Very disappointed. If you came to me as soon as I was promoted to the second elder, I still think you were a bit bloody. Now, a bunch of trash. Ningji, throw this bunch of trash out for me. After saying that, he moved his body back. Yoji and Shui moved the rocking chair over in an instant, and let him just lie down in it. At this moment, Shu also brought his favorite fruit and handed it to Shun's mouth. Such ignoring behavior immediately made the visitors furious, and they took out their kunai to teach Shun a lesson, but they were all stopped by a wave of anger. Ningxi crossed in front of everyone step by step, opened his eyes and put on a posture. My master said, let you go. Everyone was taken aback for a moment, and then burst into loud laughter. Ha ha ha. What did he say? His master, a member of the Hyuga family, dare to act wild in our Uchiha resident. Little baby, have you graduated from school? Do you know that we have killed many people, especially those of your age? Begging for mercy at my feet makes me feel good, ha ha ha. His eyes turned cold. Ningxi didn't say any more nonsense. He kicked the ground hard. Bang, the mud flew up, and in an instant he came to the person who laughed the loudest, and elbowed him. Uchiha Nobuhiro opened one hand horizontally and easily lowered Neji's sneak attack, and smiled fiercely. Boy, you are very brave. Pulling hard with his left hand, he swept his right hand with kunai, trying to leave a scar on Neji's face. Ningxi used his strength to turn his body forward, and when he avoided the sweep, the bottom of his left foot smashed hard on his sky cap. Boom! Shinhong didn't notice for a while, and actually asked Ningxi to kick a dog to eat shit and lie on the ground. Furious, he put his hands on the ground, relying on the stronger strength of adults, and swung his legs. If it was in the past, Nechi would either retreat or resist, but now Nechi's 5 fingers spread out, and his chakra turned into thin lines all over the sky. While constantly wrapping and pulling Shinhong's legs, he lowered his body and spun around while avoiding a sneak attack from behind. Bian's 360-degree field of vision is really very useful in battle. Tomo Uchiha, who was sneaking up, waved kunai uncontrollably and stabbed at Nobuhiro. His face paled in shock. Get out of here, out of here. It's a pity that Shinhong put his hands on the ground. His feet were also pulled by the thin chakra string, and he swung towards Chifu. Laugh. Bam. The sound of a sharp knife entering the body and the sound of a heavy object hitting at the same time. Shinhong and Jufu screamed and fell to the ground with injuries. Ningqi, who was trying his best, was very excited. He pulled Jufu back with one hand, stepped on the ground with a lunge, twisted his waist and pushed his elbow. Boom! With a muffled sound, Jufu's eyes widened. With disbelief in his eyes, he was beaten and flew upside down for more than 10 meters. He fell to the ground and wailed endlessly. At this moment, he felt that his internal organs were displaced. Uchiha Akira and Uchiha Kota looked at each other, and made seals with their hands. Ziyin Shucho Mao Yin, the art of fire escape how fireball. 2 huge fireballs spewed out from their mouths, divided into left and right, sandwiching Neji in the middle. Ningxi didn't dodge. He opened his hands and danced slowly in the air. 2 invisible waves appeared instantly and brushed over the fireball. Slowly, the 2 huge fireballs with a diameter of more than 2 meters deviated from their proper orbit as if being fanned by something. Passing across Neji's face, they attacked each other respectively. What? Akira and Shingta stared blankly at this scene. They had never seen any ninjutsu that could change the attack direction of others. Is it a hallucination? But the hot feeling that was getting closer and closer told them that all this was true. As a last resort, he quickly pressed one hand on the ground. Tuden, Tuliubi. Boom! Just blocked Hao's fireball, and before Shingtai could catch his breath, a figure had already sprung out from the smoke. Soft fist method, Bagua 16 palms. No, with only time to roar, Churin Kota was hit by Neji, who didn't even graduate from ninja school, with consecutive attacks on his acupuncture points, losing all his fighting power. The rest of the Uchihas couldn't see it well, and they opened their blood wheel eyes one after another, gaining insight into and copying all the actions of Neji. It's a pity that it's useless. Taijiquan, a boxing method that focuses on meaning but not form, cannot be mastered by imitation. Soon a group of Zongnin and Shonin fell unwillingly at Ningxi's feet. Only the last person left, Jonin Uchiha Katsuhiko. You really amaze me, a kid who hasn't graduated yet can defeat so many clansmen. But it's over here, I'll let you know how far you are from a real ninja. Sealing with both hands, fire escaped the art of biscuit burning. A ball of raging flames directly appeared on Ningxi's body. As a last resort, Ningxi formed a seal and escaped with a substitute technique. The corners of Katsuhiko's mouth rose, and he threw out 2 huge shurikens with both hands and then made a seal again, Choshu Chenzi Shu Hai Si Yin. Secret technique Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. He was the main person who came to trouble Shun this time, but unexpectedly, he was stopped by Neji, who was not even a ninja. I have to do it myself. Ningxi controlled his breathing and tried his best to recover his strength. After all, he was still young and suffered a lot in terms of strength and physical strength. With 5 fingers spread out, countless thin lines of chakra are scattered to pull the shurikens all over the sky. I have to say that Katsuhiko is no one to deal with a child with A-level ninjutsu. Jingle jingle. Neji, who consumed a lot of mental power, finally blocked all the shurikens, but before he could catch his breath, Katsuhiko came to him in an instant. The Konoha whirlwind. With the left foot as the center, quickly swing the right foot into a semicircle, and when it is about to reach the maximum strength, kick towards Neji. HMPH. he had observed clearly just now, although Neji can change the direction of other people's attacks. But once the strength reaches a certain level, he is helpless. Boom. What? White smoke rose. It turned out to be a clone technique. Sheng Yan was shocked. Why didn't his blood wheel eyes notice it? A loud shout suddenly came from behind. Softboxing Bagua 32 palms. At this time, when his old strength was gone and his new strength was not born, he wanted to change his body shape, but it was too late. A huge Tai Chi gossip map suddenly appeared at the feet of the two of them. Ning Si faced Kami Nin Katsuhiko and had to resort to ninjutsu that he had not yet fully mastered. Boom bang bang. In less than a second, Neji had already swung 32 palms in a row, hitting Katsuhiko's chakra acupuncture points, blocking the flow. Whoosh. Ning Si couldn't help panting. Did you win? However, he was knocked down by Ji Shengyan with all his strength and turned into a wooden stake in a cloud of white smoke with a bang. Papa papa. Shengyan clapped his hands and walked out slowly from the side. Not bad, not bad. Little ghost, what's your name? You are eligible to be remembered by me. At such an age, forcing me to use a Jonin to perform a substitute technique is amazing. If this gives you time to grow up, I'm afraid that I will lose. Grabbing Ning Si's neck, he lifted him up. Unfortunately, no one will remember a genius who died young. Boom. The head exploded, and the blood spurted out more than 3 meters high like a fountain, and then lost its strength, scattered from the air, and dripped on Ning Si's immature face. Uchiha withdrew his fist instantly, tilted his head and looked at Neji. Remember that ninjas don't win or lose, only life and death. And, are you stupid? Since we are behind the enemy, why use Bagwazong and take out kunai to pierce his heart? Neji looked at Shun blankly. Is this the true face of ninja world? Biting his lips and nodding. Yes, master, I understand. Yeah. Shun patted Ning Si's head in satisfaction, then turned to look aside. After watching for so long, come out. Uchiha Itachi was surprised, was discovered. Such a powerful perception. Leapt in from outside the wall. Uchiha Itachi sees the second elder. Shun tilted his head, looking at the person in the original book who loves candy but has suffered all his life. Have you seen it all? Uchiha Itachi's heart tightened, his muscles tensed, and he was ready to fight at any time. His father asked him to monitor the newly appointed second elder, which he thought was superfluous at first. He has never practiced every day, and he used to be a tail car, but now he is just a person who only knows how to eat and drink while lying in a rocking chair, so what should he care about? Unexpectedly, just after he made a move, his strength was so powerful that he could only see an afterimage with his blood eyes. I really didn't know how to answer, so I just nodded, yeah. Okay. With a flash of his hand, he had already noticed that someone was watching, but he didn't point it out, then go back. Itachi raised his head in astonishment, turned away after being silent for a while. He didn't want to participate in this, but as the son of the patriarch Fukucho, he couldn't help it. After dismissing Itachi, Shun lay down on the rocking chair again, enjoying life leisurely. Time traveling. Why are you still working so hard to do that big injustice? Of course, you want to enjoy it freely. Half a month passed again, and Ning Si's Taijiquan was already in good shape. At this time, the courtyard door that had just been repaired was pushed open again. Asma walked in with a man wearing a mask. Shun, see who I brought you. He opened his eyes in a daze. Ah. Yoji and Shuichi hated the person in front of them very much, Kakashi. The person who blatantly invaded the blood wheel eye of their Uchiha clan, whenever the patriarch wanted to recover, was blocked by the third Hokage, and finally had to let it go. Asma picked up the fruit in Shu's hand very casually, and put it in his mouth. Shun, you are more and more able to enjoy it now. It's not good. You have to practice. How old are you? There is still a bright future waiting for you. What if you inherit the position of Hokage in the future? Speaking of this sentence, he himself smiled in disbelief, and immediately lost his lazy temper. If he really became Hokage, he would correct documents day and night. I'm afraid he might go crazy, ha ha ha. Hello, instantly stood up. It's good, but you can't curse me. Patting Shun on the shoulder, Asma said sadly, I'm sorry, Feilation, I have been arguing with the old man for a long time, but I still can't get it. However, I invited the famous Konoha ninja Hitaki Kakashi to teach you Bamindungia. Asuma worked really hard for Flying Raijin, but how could the third generation allow the magical skill of Flying Raijin to be passed on to the Uchiha clan? That is just thinking about shit. He didn't talk about it, and he almost forgot it in an instant. Although he doesn't need it now, people are coming, so it's not good not to learn. Standing there loosely. Okay, please start your performance. No, teaching. Kakashi. Hey, he is Konoha's well-known copy ninja, an elite jonin, and Asuma had to pay 3 copies of heaven as a price in order to please him. What do you mean by this perfunctory look? Are you lost on the journey of life like me? Turning over the eyes of the dead fish. Bamindungia is a kind of ninjutsu that temporarily gains powerful power by releasing the chakra channel that binds the human body. When the 8 gates are fully opened, you can even temporarily gain power over the shadows, but this power depends entirely on the caster himself. Among them, opening the door removes the restriction of the brain region, and exerts 100% of the full strength of the body's functions. Shumin, lift the restriction of physical fatigue, and can overload the body. Shungmin, further increase the attack and speed, the body begins to congest and turn red, and the surface begins to emit green power. At the same time, the Shungmin is also the last safe zone of Bamindungia. Dumin, increase the speed to the greatest extent. It is said that when it reaches the extreme, it is enough to drive the air to tilt the ground when moving. Jingman, adjust every function in the body, reduce consumption as much as possible, and explode the most powerful attack when needed. Jingman, the body exudes blue steam produced by the evaporation of sweat. It has the strength to rival Ying, but after it is released, even if it is blown by the breeze, it will feel excruciatingly painful. The door of death after opening, the body exudes red steam caused by the evaporation of blood. From the moment it is opened, your life has also entered the countdown. But the power, it is said that it can perfectly exceed the shadow level, surpassing it. Of course it is very difficult to cultivate the Bamindungia. It requires extremely high physical fitness of the caster. There are many people in the Konoha society who have the 8 sects of armor, but very few can reach the 4 sects, let alone the 6 sects, and none of the 8 sects. Have you decided to practice this ninjutsu? It's too late to regret it now. I can teach you any 3 other ninjutsu to replace it. In Kakashi's mind, a waste of the Uchiha clan who only opened 1 eye of jade and blood round eyes. It's just a whim, just wanting to be handsome, just deal with it casually. Asuma also looked at Shun expectantly, and he didn't want his friend to practice Bamindungia, not to mention the difficulty of cultivation. At the end of the practice, it will be a flash in the pan, and you will definitely die. Who can bear it? This is why the third generation didn't care about the rumors of this forbidden technique at all, and even Matt could learn it with a ninja. Whoever practices will die, why ban him? Shun shrugged indifferently. He was just curious, so he would not really try to open the dead door. Ah, I got it, let's start. I'm all hungry. Oh, by the way, Asuma, you really don't consider being my student. Come now, you are the 3rd senior brother. Asuma. Student, you are a ghost. With your strength, you would be embarrassing to the Chunin, if it weren't for the face of the Uchiha clan, plus countless casualties in the 3rd Ninja War. Can you become a Chunin? Also accepted him as an apprentice. A joke. Wait, 3rd senior brother. Have you accepted an apprentice? Xiao Li turned over and came in front of the 3 of them, and gave a thumbs up energetically. I am the big brother, Li Luke. Ning Si passed by the 3 of them expressionlessly. I am the 2nd senior brother, Hinata Neji. He really didn't want to show up. He always thought Xiao Li was a fool, but now he couldn't beat Xiao Li. Yes, even though he has comprehended Taijiquan, he still cannot defeat Xiao Li, who is extremely explosive. It's embarrassing. He is a genius of the Hinata family. Asuma's hands are trembling. Rock Lee is not important. What the hell is Neji Hyuga? The Uchiha clan took people from the Hinata family as disciples. Does the 3rd generation care? Well, at this moment, Konoha's high-level executives are struggling with the sudden emergence of masters. At the same time, in order to deal with the crisis, the 3 generations have to devote themselves to practicing some forbidden techniques. I really can't pay attention to this little thing. Kakashi was also very surprised. He pushed up his forehead to reveal the scarlet 3 god jade blood wheel eyes, and carefully examined Uchiha Shun. Unremarkable, loose, and covered with countless loopholes. But why did Neji worship him as his teacher at this time? As a ninja trusted by the third generation, he knows a lot of dark scenes, including the news that the third generation and others are planning to destroy the Uchiha clan. He doesn't believe that Neji, who has always been known as a genius, can't see the problem here, but why would he worship Shun as his teacher? By the way, it is said that Shun has recently been promoted to the second elder. There must be some ulterior transaction or secret in it. Kakashi's ninja soul is burning. He must investigate the secret here and report it to 3 generations, so as to minimize the loss of the village. Wow, Sengoyu. Shun leaned close to Kakashi, stretched out 2 fingers to open his eyelids, and said exaggeratedly. Open every day, isn't the burden heavy? Kakashi's pupils constricted. When did he come to me? Why didn't I notice it? No, it's impossible. Take a step back and stare at Shun. Hey, don't be so stingy. Shun stepped forward naturally, opened his eyelids again to observe. Looking at it won't affect your eyesight, but why not a kaleidoscope? Cold sweat rolled down Kakashi's forehead. He saw every movement of Shun clearly, but his body just didn't respond. It's as if he didn't notice the danger, and he didn't notice anyone approaching, as if it was natural. In other words, as long as he closes his eyes now, or shifts his gaze a little, he won't notice Shun who is so close to him. What kind of ninjutsu is this? If this is a sneak attack, who can hide from it? Cursing his lips, Hitaki's opening is not fun, it's cold, but logically speaking, Obito has already opened the blood wheel eye, and even fought against the 4th generation. Why is he still Sengoyu? The energy in his body is not enough. That's right, the 3 Go Jades made him always lack mana, and the first time he used Shinwei, he was lucky for 2 whole episodes, which made people anxious. The most embarrassing thing is when Pain attacked Konoha, because he was exhausted from using Kamui. If Obito knew this way of death, I don't know what expression he would have. Hey, putting his arms around Kakashi's neck, he whispered, you can feel it, your eyes can still evolve. And do you want to fight in the future without counting chakra? As long as you call me master, I will solve everything for you. Kakashi's brain is running rapidly. Heaven and man are at war. What does he mean? Kaleidoscope. In the past few years, his blood wheel eyes have been consumed a lot. Is it because he lacks the corresponding energy to evolve into a kaleidoscope? But because he is a foreigner and has always been hated by the Uchiha people, it is impossible to find out more information. And chakra has always been his flaw. Thinking of having to count every battle, he is very annoying. Can you solve it? Kakashi looked at Shun expectantly and hesitantly, and gritted his teeth. Master. If it is said that the master can be exchanged, there will be no shortage of chakra in the future, so what if I lose some people? No one knows anyway. At worst, after the Uchiha clan is exterminated, he can quietly burn incense on the monument. Hey, Shun said with a smile, okay, since you call me master, I'll take care of this for you. Attached to Kakashi's ear, there was another arrangement. Kakashi's face turned blue and red at once. Is he really going to do this? But chakra, kaleidoscope blood wheel eye, hesitated for a while, and finally nodded. What are you 2 doing? Asma poked her head curiously, whispering behind my back. When did you have such a good relationship? Shouldn't you be meeting for the first time? Because Kakashi is hated by the Uchiha clan, he will avoid the Uchiha clan in order to reduce conflicts. So he and Shun really met for the first time. It's okay. Instantly patted Kakashi's chest. We're talking about some men. It only makes Kakashi feel cheated, but it's just a cell, not fatal. And Shun is in a good mood. As long as you call master, the system will recognize you as a newly recruited apprentice. As for whether Kakashi is willing, or serves sincerely, that is not a matter of systematic thinking. Hey, by the way, Asma, you're leaving, what about Hong? Shun asked as if remembering something, looking at Asma narrowly. Suddenly, Asma's face turned red, and she stammered, What? Red? Shun, what are you talking about? Oh, who else could it be? Of course it's Yuhi Hong. Shun gave him a hammer. They're all men, why are you shy? Shall we tie her up and send her there? Asma quickly pushed Shun away. You, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Shun Yi curled his lips. Oh, forget it, then I'll tie it up and enjoy it myself. No, Asma yelled instantly. We are all Konoha's ninjas, we cannot kill each other. Yes, that's it, no. Tisk tisk, I scared you. Instantly pulled out the cigarette from Asma's mouth. You look so nervous. You said that you are innocent, but you always pretend to be an uncle with a cigarette in your mouth. Are you ashamed? Asma, you are right, but he is powerless to refute. He snatched back the cigarette, put it in his mouth and lit it, inhaled and exhaled, and the smoke was lingering. What do you know, it's called sentimentality. Okay, when are you leaving? I'll arrange a table for you and see you off. Shun and Asma walked out shoulder to shoulder, leaving only Kakashi still fighting between heaven and man. Whether or not to betray the ninja from the same village, I am so entangled, so anxious, waiting online. In the middle of the night, Kakashi covered his whole body tightly, leaving only one eye exposed, and sneaked into Shun's small courtyard. Just as I was about to knock on the door, I felt someone pat on the shoulder. Hey, are you so strict? Kakashi made a big jump and came 3 meters away in an instant, but before he could react, he was held down instantly. What are you running for? You really want to come with me? Such strength. This feeling. Very scary. It is precisely because of this that Kakashi believes that Shun can solve his problem. I must guarantee that you will not do any irreparable damage to him. Shun tilted his head. Well, whatever you want, we happened to conduct experiments together. No, we solved your problem together. Kakashi. He seems to have heard the word, experiment. Could it be that Uchiha Shun used him as a guinea pig? Forget it, don't care, it's come to this point, try it, it's too much for him to lack chakra temptation. The body jumped. Let's go. Shun hurriedly followed. This Tai Chi true meaning was so easy to use, it was so natural that even Kakashi didn't notice it. The two walked quickly through the leaves, and it took nearly a quarter of an hour before they bypassed all the guard posts and came to a secret base. Kakashi stopped. He is inside, but I only know that there are layers of organs and countless guards inside. The specific situation depends on you. All right. With a wave of his hand, he walked in with strides, and soon a piercing siren sounded at the base. Kakashi, this special, why do you call this sneaking in? Cheating. If someone finds out, is he going to follow his father's path? Hastily set up a barrier to isolate the sound and prevent the people inside from escaping and reporting, but after waiting for a long time, only the red light flashed, but no one came out from inside. Inside, Yamato fell to the ground in horror, and kept stepping back. Don't come here. He just heard the alarm of the invasion, and he didn't pay attention to it. After so many years, Danzo has never given up. From time to time, people will be sent to try to bring him back to the roots. But he would never go to that dark place again, and would rather spend the rest of his life in this dark place than go back. However, this time, not only did the alarm not stop quickly, but it got closer and closer to him. He couldn't help standing up, fully alert. Could it be that Danzo led the team himself? Impossible. Sarutobi Hiruzen once personally guaranteed that as long as he stays here, there will be no danger. Boom. With a loud bang, the door of his laboratory was kicked away, and it swirled and embedded deeply into the wall. Swallowing a mouthful of spit with difficulty, the door of his laboratory has been specially modified, all made of alloy, 20 meters thick, and weighs 15 tons. At the beginning of the building, it was connected with the laboratory as a whole. Unless he agreed to open it from the inside, no one, even anyone, could open it. Now, the door that even Danzo could not destroy was kicked away and embedded in the wall. Shun casually threw away the Konoha ninja who was stunned by him. As long as everyone was stunned and no one saw him sneaking in, wouldn't it be the most perfect sneaking? With the inheritance of Zilong and the true meaning of Tai Chi, as far as this point of defense is concerned, it is not easy for him. If it weren't for the fear of overturning the secret base with one punch, he would have wanted to punch Lucian Shenglongba. It was like a god, far surpassing Danzo's aura many times over, so frightened that Yamato's legs became weak, and he fell to the ground. What are you going to do? I am a person authorized by 3 generations. Without his consent, you can't use me as an experiment. Shun's approaching step by step made Yamato more nervous, and he recalled those miserable days and cruel experiments in the roots again. More than 100 children were injected into the cells between the columns, countless people mutated, and countless people were devoured to death. Only he survived and successfully merged. However, when he thought everything was over, what greeted him was day and night practice and various inhumane experiments. The slightest difference is whipping in electric shocks. A living person almost becomes an emotionless machine. Fortunately, he was witty, pretended to be moved, and took refuge in the third Hokage. But who can tell him what is going on now? Don't be afraid. Shun took out the needle tube that had been prepared. Just let me draw a few tubes of blood. Yamato. The needle tube is as thick as an arm, not to mention a few tubes, he won't do even one tube. Wait, don't come over here, make a seal with both hands, would escape wooden ingot wall. Under Yamato's rapid pressure, a semicircular shield formed within a thousandth of an instant, enveloping him tightly. However, before he could catch his breath, a fist had smashed it, and Shun's expressionless face was stuck on it. I caught you, little treasure. Rolling his eyes, Yamato fainted to the ground. Woo, 3 generations, come quickly, there is a pervert. Scratching his head for a moment, Yamato couldn't help being so funny. He fainted after being frightened a few times. Isn't it possible that this Jonin came from a bribe? He didn't even think about it, just with his terrifying aura just now, let alone Yamato. Danzo was also confused when he came. Send the signal for Kakashi to come in. Kakashi raised his hands back high, quickly came to the scene of the crime, heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, no one died, so there is room for maneuver. But, does this have anything to do with the previously agreed secret infiltration? Covering his head, looking at Shun, he has to think about it. How can he get rid of all the relationship with this matter? How about tying him up? While Kakashi was thinking about it, Shun had already pulled out a tube of blood from Yamato's body and injected it into his body. Kakashi dead fish face is about to break his defense. Okay, is it so casual? Take a tube of blood and inject it directly. Forget it, that's fine. He is finished. He knows that Yamato's body is fused with the horror cells of the first generation of Naruto. Every person who is injected will be swallowed and turned into a big tree of abnormal trade. Leaning against the wall, countless memories flashed through my heart one by one, from the beginning of cultivation, to growing up, to becoming famous as a teenager. However, fate has already marked the price of everything long ago. First, his father Hatake Baya committed suicide because he couldn't stand the foul language in the village, which made him change his beliefs, become indifferent, and firmly believe that missions are more important than anything else. But when Obito gave him the blood eye before his death, he was shaken. Is the task really greater than the life of his companion? Before he could think about all this clearly, he killed his companion Lin with his own hands, and his heart began to fall into darkness. Fortunately, he also has the 4th generation of Hokage, Namikaze Minato, who is as bright as the sun. Take good care of him, care about him, let him still have a little bit of concern in his heart, let him still have a little bit of hope for the future in his heart. But suddenly one day, the 9 Tails rioted, and the person who illuminated his heart also left. Close relatives and close friends all slipped through his world, and finally in this cold world, he was the only one left without any worries. Wait for me, I'm here to find you. Open your hands and look up. Hey, why don't I feel any discomfort? Wait, what the hell is this exuberant chakra in my body, and my eyes seem to have undergone a slight change. Turning around and looking through the wall, he could clearly see that his Sanguyu's blood wheel eyes had turned into a huge sickle-like shape, constantly spinning in it. Is this the kaleidoscope blood wheel eye? Go back to the previous few minutes. After Shun registered Yamato's blood with Kakashi, he heard the system prompt. Ding, you help your apprentice, Hatake Kakashi, inject Yamato cells, improve his ability, and trigger quality crit return. Congratulations on obtaining intercolumn cells and the perfect fusion method. Receive it. Receive. Must receive. There is no perfect fusion method. Whoever fuses the intercolumn cells will kneel. Closing his eyes, countless knowledge appeared in Shun's mind. After a brief arrangement, he picked up the equipment in the laboratory and danced quickly on Kakashi's body. After thinking about it, although he is a little white mouse, he can still be called master, and he can be used to pull wool in the future. Or conveniently stuffed an intercolumnar cell into its body to help it grow. As for Kakashi, he still stood there blankly with that expression of being spoiled by others and having no love for life. Kakashi touched his eyes in shock. Was it a success? This is unscientific. The phagocytic power of the cells in Hashirama is extremely strong, and there is no way to suppress it except for the Uchiha clan's blood wheel eyes. And although he has a blood wheel eye, he can't suppress it at all, let alone reach a balance, help the blood wheel eye to go further, and open the kaleidoscope. Turning to look at Shun, who was eating instant noodles beside him. You made this? Shun took a bite of instant noodles and nodded. Ah, I made it. If you want to eat it, cook it yourself. There are some beside it. You're welcome. Exercising this evening is not enough. I will be hungry so soon. Kakashi, is this what he said? I mean, how did you manage to let me have no side effects, but instead greatly increase the vitality of my cells, and even help the evolution of blood wheel eyes? What are you talking about? Shun drank the instant noodles and even the soup together. It's been a long time since I haven't eaten, and I still miss it. Just fiddle with it casually. How about it? You are not screaming like a master for nothing. Kakashi stared deeply at Shun. At this moment, he felt that the third generation's plan to destroy the Uchiha clan might fail. He couldn't understand the person in front of him at all. Shun ignored Kakashi's eyes, wiped his mouth, and threw the instant noodles casually. Let's go, someone is here. Kakashi nodded helplessly. He is very dizzy now, and he doesn't know how to deal with today's matter. Whether he wants to confess to the third generation, he has to think carefully, but the first thing is to leave quickly. Following Shun's footsteps, he left the secret base. After a while, Hiruzuru Sarutobi of the third Hokage walked into the laboratory with a livid face, looking at Yamato, who fell into a coma and the mess on the ground. He slapped the table angrily. Check, you must find out who it is. The other party is so special, dare to stay in the laboratory and eat instant noodles. He really didn't pay attention to Konoha and his 3 generations of Hokage. Danzo also appeared in the laboratory, and said bitterly, I just said, I shouldn't give up Yamato to you. Look, it's a good thing the other party didn't take Yamato away, otherwise, once Mudun appears in other villages, it will cause irreparable damage to Konoha. And if he followed my arrangement, wouldn't he have reappeared the scenery of the first generation long ago? Hiruzen glanced at Danzo. I don't allow you to experiment with the life of any villager in Konoha. Never allow. Danzang snorted coldly, turned and left. Hiruzen, you are still so kind. Without his secret efforts, Konoha would have died long ago. He should have inherited the position of Naruto back then, so that Konoha could stand on top of the ninja world forever. With the order of 3 generations, Konoha's tonight is destined not to be a peaceful night. Soon, 2 ninjas wearing animal masks knocked on Kakashi's door. Hokage has orders, please go to the office quickly. Okay. Kakashi put on the armor as if nothing had happened, put on the forehead protector, and went quickly. At the same time, Kai, Sunset Red, Inoka Butterfly and other Konoha families, high-level or Jonin trusted by 3 generations, all set off and gathered together. Only no one from the Uchiha clan was invited. Fopcho clenched his fists. Sarutobi Hiruzen, you are too deceitful. The Great Elder calmly opened his clover-like eyes and looked up at the starry sky. Master Patriarch, speed up the process. Fopcho took a deep breath. Okay, everything respected by the Great Elder, we. All of this has nothing to do with Shun, and after swaggering back to the small courtyard, he lay down and fell asleep soundly. The next day, Yoji and Shui ran up to Shun yelling, my lord, it's not good. The Patriarch has ordered us to buy kunai, shuriken and bingliangwan. Is this going to start a rebellion? In fact, as most of the clansmen, they don't want to rebel, even though they are squeezed out by Konoha's high-level officials. But that is mainly aimed at patriarchs, elders and so on. What does it have to do with them, the bottom? Some tribesmen are still working hard because they can't become ninjas. Could it be that if the rebellion is successful, they don't need to work? Besides, these ordinary ninjas should usually go out on missions and form teams, but I haven't seen any kills. Pen ninjas dare to insult and ridicule them. On the contrary, I like to have them join, because family ninjas, especially ninjas from wealthy families like Uchiha, represent strength. With their participation, the mission can be guaranteed and no one will die. You must know that as a ninja during the war, there are not a lot of D-level tasks for them to practice. It is not uncommon for a whole class of people to die in one battle when they joined the war right after graduation. So no one would dislike strong teammates. But once they rebel, things will change. Even if they are not liquidated and killed, they are destined to be sent to extremely dangerous missions in the future and become cannon fodder. Instantly rolled his eyes helplessly, maybe. He really didn't understand what Uchiha and the senior patriarchs thought, and everyone knew why it was a good rebellion. I am afraid that others will not know, was the rebellion successful? Or did they feel that they could push Konoha horizontally with their strength alone? What a joke, no wonder it was wiped out by Itachi alone. But as the Uchiha clan, he is definitely on the list of liquidation, unless he wants to become a rebellious ninja, otherwise there is no way around this. No, standing up instantly, he had to find a way to deal with this matter. Master, Ningji Hinata had tears in his eyes for the first time, and knelt down in front of Shun. Please save my father. What's the matter? Shun raised Ningxi with a little doubt. I will be a teacher for one day and a father for life. If you have anything to say directly, I will make the decision for you as a teacher. Although the voice is very flat, it has unparalleled power in Ningxi's ears. Wiping away his tears, Ningxi choked up and continued. Last night, someone took advantage of Hokage-sama to gather the village's elite ninjas to defend against emptiness. Sneak into my Hyuga's house secretly, kidnap Hinata from the main family, and want to win the flawless white eyes. But we discovered it in time, and reported to the patriarch Hinata Hyuzu to lead the people to take it back. However, for some reason, the ninja who sneaked in committed suicide the first time things failed. But we didn't think too much about it. We thought the matter was over. We never thought that the next day, the envoys from Yunin village would make a big fuss in front of Hokage-sama, saying that our Hinata family killed their people. Either hand over the body of the murderer Hinata to appease the anger, or they will report Raikage to start a war. A sneer appeared at the corner of Shun's mouth. Then I guess, the third generation surrendered. HMPH, Shinobi Sarutobi Hiruza, what a ninja, he is good at everything, how can he bear it? The people in Yunin village are all outputting by riding their faces, and they are so quiet, so special, so awesome. Ningxi looked sad and lowered his head. Yes, Hokage-sama didn't say it clearly, but he meant that war cannot be waged. There is no other way. As a branch family, my father has no choice but to choose to die for the main family. He didn't understand why Hokage-sama, as Konoha's shadow, didn't protect his villagers. Could it be that the fate of Yunin village is fate, and the fate of his Hinata family is not fate? Shun nodded. I understand, let's go. Ningxi raised his head and stared at Shun. Master. At this moment, the figure of his master Uchiha Shun is infinitely elevated in his eyes. Because he understands that these short words mean that Shun will stand up for him and face the highest leader of Konoha, who is also the most powerful person in ninjutsu. Moved in my heart, I wanted to say something, but was stopped by Shun's eyes. Get up, stretch yourself, it's time to move around, tell those Sabi, the Uchiha clan is not easy to mess with. Yoji, Juchi, let's go and lead me to Hokage's office. With a swipe, Yoji and Shuichi broke out in cold sweat. They had heard what happened just now. Shun decided to go to Hokage at this time, thinking with his ass, nothing good would happen. Looking at each other bitterly, he muttered in a low voice, can we not go? They are just two ordinary ninjas with no big ambitions. They just want to marry a wife, have a baby, and spend their lives ordinary. But why is it so difficult to ask so little? Shun coldly snorted. Remember, shrinking back won't solve any problems. Ningxi was bullied today, and no one came forward. When it's your turn tomorrow, there will be no change, and no one will help you. Remember, indulgence will only make the other party worse. If you want not to be bullied, then you have to tell him in a tougher manner, no. Only when you hurt him and scare him, will he stop messing with you, understand? Understood. Yoji and Shuichi shouted helplessly. Shun ignored them, turned to Ningxi and said, there is one more thing. Cowards will never be allowed under my sect. Cowards, if one day, I find out that you have succumbed, it will count as death in hell. I will also drag you out of hell and re-educate you, do you remember? Feeling Shun's powerful eyes, Ningxi clenched his fists. I remember, master. At this moment, his heart was full of strength. he would not follow his father's old path again, no clan, no division, all to die. He is himself and will not sacrifice for others in vain. Rescuing people was like putting out a fire, and the four of them set out on the road with light packs, rampaging through Konoha village and headed straight for Hokage's office, causing a commotion. Countless pairs of eyes stared at them, some with sad faces, some with gloating, and more with ridicule. Who does he think he is, a Uchiha tribe who is about to be destroyed, and wants Master Hokage to change his decision? It's like a joke. Besides, if Raikage decides to start a war, who will go to war? Can he afford it? If you know how long the Third Ninja War has passed, how brutal it was, and how many people died, they don't want to participate in the war anymore, and they died for nothing. The blatant whereabouts of the four of them had already been discovered by Anbu, and the third Danzo and others were notified. Danzo took the note with a vicious expression on his face. Okay, well done, I just took advantage of this to beat the Uchiha clan. The third generation frowned, glanced around, and looked at the indifferent expressions of the major families and the envoy of Yunnan village who was jumping up and down in the middle of the field and shouting. Deep headache. Don't let them in. Yes. The two Anbu hiding behind Rizan disappeared in a flash and stopped at the door. Stop coming. Shun didn't even bother to lift his eyelids. He raised his foot and was about to kick out, causing Yoji and Kotobuki to distort their expressions. This is Hokage-sama's office. Stepping forward, with a charming smile, let us do this little thing. Turn around and cough twice. Cough cough, that this is the second elder of our Uchiha clan, and now I have something important to ask to see Hokage-sama, please go in and report. When they thought about it, Shun, as the second elder of the Uchiha clan, the other party had to show some face. It's a pity that the two Anbu ninjas in the mask sneered again and again, not to mention that your Uchiha is about to be exterminated. Even if you don't exterminate the clan, with the order of Lord Hokage, a second elder is nothing. Looking down at the few people proudly, Master Hokage has an order. He is in a meeting with the envoys of Yunnan village, the chiefs and high-level officials are in a meeting, and no one else is allowed to enter. Yes, in their eyes, all the members of the Uchiha clan are idlers. The faces of Yoji and Shuichi were itchy. As the proud Uchiha clan, one of the founding families of Konoha, when were they so humiliated? His face turned red and he emphasized again. This is the second elder of our Uchiha clan, I have something to ask to see Master Hokage. However, this time the two Anbu ninjas on the opposite side were even more disdainful, and they didn't even bother to respond. He just stood there indifferently with his arms around his shoulders, scanning Yoji and Shuichi, self-evident. They, Anbu, are directly under Hokage-sama, and the two of them received orders from Hokage himself. If these few people dare to make trouble in front of Hokage's office, then they will definitely let. Boom. Amidst the loud roar, the Anbu ninja on the left was kicked away by Shun. What nonsense with a dog. Bold. Anbu on the right roared and took out kunai, beat Anbu and break into Hokage's office. Treason, forbearance, kill without mercy. Hey, Shun stretched out his hand disdainfully, and patted his face, are you sure? Covered in cold sweat and trembling all over, as an Anbu ninja directly under Naruto, he wanted to resist, but all the cells in his body were crazily reminding him. If you can't move, you will die, and you will die very miserable. At this moment, in his eyes, there is no one, it is a monster in human skin, a monster more terrifying than 9 tails. 1 second, 2 seconds, he still didn't move, holding kunai motionless in a daze. Why didn't you bark? Shun Yu felt puzzled. What kind of cat or dog dared to bully Uchiha on his head? He hasn't exterminated yet, kicked it over with 1 foot, and stepped on the face. Isn't the yelling just now very fierce? Let me listen to the yelling twice. Anbu ninja's whole body trembled even more violently, as if a small motor was installed and it was spinning rapidly. Please, you, no, don't kill. Crunch. The door of Hokage's office was slowly pushed open, and Mitomanyan showed half of his face expressionlessly, looking at Shun. Hokage-sama has an order. Please invite Uchiha second elder to come in and discuss it in detail. A wall really can't cut off the perception of everyone inside, it would be embarrassing to continue, so Rizan had no choice but to enter in an instant. Cut. Shun took Ning Si's little hand and strode in. Look, this is the official. Mitoman N's face instantly became very ugly. He is the advisor of Hokage, and even the head of the Uchiha clan, Fukucho, nodded his head when he saw him. How dare he, the second elder who appeared at some time, dare to mock him? Wait for the Uchiha to exterminate the clan, he must keep Shun's eyes well. He turned around and was about to close the door, but Shun stopped him and said to Yoji and Shuichi, "What are you two waiting for? Hurry up and come in and pour me tea." Yoji, Juchi. "Brother, you are my own brother, can you spare us?" They sneaked a glance just now, and with just one glance, there is no one who is lower than the Jnin within sight, and there are countless patriarchs and elders standing inside. You let them two little normal ninjas go in there, okay? With a mournful face, seeing that Shun was about to speak, he immediately ran in. That look, they don't know if there will be someone to settle accounts in the future, but they know that if they don't come in now, they will die now. Facing the sword-like eyes of Mitomanyan, Yoji took out a stool, wiped it, and placed it in the middle. And Shui even took out a large push of fruit snacks from the ninja bag, and handed them to Shun under the attention of everyone. "Brother." Yeah, Shun grabbed a bag of melon seeds in satisfaction, sat down on it with a golden knife, and kowtowed, "I have nothing else to do today. I just heard that someone was bullying my apprentice, so I came to take a look." Mitoman Yan's lungs were going to explode with anger. "I've seen someone arrogant, but I've never seen you so arrogant. This is Hokage's office, and this is where all the senior managers of Konoha are standing there for a meeting. You sit there eating melon seeds, where do you put them? Young people, don't be too arrogant. Arrogant and breaking the law." After knocking a melon seed in an instant, he threw the skin of the melon seed on him. Where does Konoha's law stipulate that people can't be arrogant? At this moment, Mitoman Yan was going crazy, and he was about to rush towards Shun with his teeth and claws, but was stopped by Sandai and Danzo with their eyes at the same time. Now is not the time to worry about these things. Hiruzuru Sarutobi cast a glance at Danzo, and asked Shun with a smile, "Oh, is that so? When Shun accepted his apprentice, why don't I know, let me see." Uchiha Shun and Asuma grew up together, and Hiruzen is naturally familiar with him, but it's a pity. The Uchiha clan didn't know good or bad, not only didn't respond to his overtures, but even worsened, wanting to rebel. Shun continued to knock on the melon seeds, but there was no response. Hizen was not embarrassed, and glanced at Neji who was standing beside Shun with a nervous face. "Is it this child?" Ning-si hesitated for a moment, then finally gritted his teeth and stood up. "It's me. My name is Ningji Hinata, and I'm the child of Hinata from the Hinata branch." There was a moment of whispering from the side. How did the Hyuga family worship the Uchiha clan as their teachers, and was there any deal involved? They can't tolerate them not thinking too much. Since the Senju clan disappeared, Konoha has only the rich family of Uchiha and the big family of Hyuga. And now that the Uchiha's destruction is imminent, at this critical moment, Neji's apprenticeship, everyone has to reconsider, is it possible that the Hyuga family is secretly standing in line? There was also a trace of solemnity flashing across Sarutobi Hiruzen's face. He already knew about this news, and even secretly investigated it. It's a pity that nothing was found, and it didn't look like the two families united at all, and there was no news. Looking at Ning-si kindly, "Then why were you bullied? Say it in front of everyone. Don't worry, here are the high-level members of Konoha, and they will definitely make decisions for you." Ning-si plucked up the courage to look at everyone around him. Saying that he was not nervous would be a lie. How old is he? He is still a child. I haven't even graduated from ninja school. It's the first time I see so many high-level people and feel their eyes. Can I not be nervous? But for his father, in order to fight against the fate of separating the family, he raised his head. "Master Hokage, all patriarchs, elders, Jon and Sama. The thing is like this, someone sneaked in last night in order to capture Bayan and kidnap Hinata. He had no choice but to commit suicide. The truth of the matter is like this, please adults decide for me." After briefly describing what happened, Ning-si bowed deeply. But he waited for a long time, but no one responded. His heart gradually sank to the bottom of the sea, wrapped in ice. This is the high-ranking Konoha he respects, and this is the Hokage he has always admired. Why don't you speak? Why don't you speak up for him? Why don't you clear up his father's grievances? Slander, this is blatant slander. The messenger of Yunnan village stepped forward and raised his arms and shouted, "He is slandering me, slandering our Yunnan village. One of the 5 great ninja villages of ours will kidnap a little girl for a supercilious look. What a joke, Master Hokage, if you slander our Yunnan village so much, I have to go back and report to Master Raikage. When the time comes, Lord Raikage will be unhappy, and I won't be able to stop him from doing anything." Threats, outright threats. He just decided Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't dare to start a war. Now Bai Fang commits suicide, Sanin escapes, Minato dies, Konoha is green and yellow. Only a group of ignorant and greedy high-level officials are left, firmly occupying power and encroaching on resources. Sure enough, the 3rd generation hesitated for a moment, and asked aloud, "Ning-si, do you have evidence?" As soon as this remark came out, everyone in Konoha became very disappointed. But his 3 generations really didn't dare to gamble, and they couldn't gamble, to offend Yunnan village for the sake of a family and a branch. Not worth it, and what if a war does start? Konoha really doesn't have much talent. Ning-si shuddered. The words of the 3rd generation seemed doubtful, but they had already stated their position. If there was no key evidence, his father would die as a member of his Hyuga family. His fists were clenched, and the veins on his forehead bulged, making the already scary white eyes even more ferocious. After being silent for a long time, I squeezed out 2 words from the root of my teeth, "No." Accompanied by the sound of no, all his strength seemed to disappear, and he stumbled back. Step, 2 steps. Is this destiny? His Hyuga family has to pay for Konoha, and his separated family is destined to sacrifice for the main family. But, why? Why did he have to separate the family to bear all of this? He obviously didn't do anything. Why? Why all the resources were given to his clan? Why he would be engraved as a bird in a cage if he split up? Why would he die if he split up? HMPH. The Yunnan village envoy walked up to Ning-si arrogantly. "Stinky boy, you actually distorted the facts and slandered our Yunnan village. Trying to provoke a war between the 2 great ninja villages. Say, are you a spy from his village?" With tears in his eyes, Ning-si looked at the envoy of Yunnan village in grief and indignation. He really wanted to punch him to death. However, he can't. Hey, the Yunnan village envoy was even more aggressive, patting his chest exaggeratedly. "Look at this little look, it's so fierce. I'm so scared, ha ha ha, is this going to hit me?" He leaned forward, turned his face sideways, and patted lightly. "You hit me, you hit me. Hit me, try it, see if I don't call you." Snapped. Ah! A huge applause and the screams of the emissary of Yunnan village echoed in the office at the same time. I saw the envoy spinning degrees in the air, lying on the ground with a look of bewilderment and disbelief, looking at the teeth that flew out. Looking at Uchiha Shun, who was doing it again, he covered the bright red 5-finger marks on his face. "You dare to hit me? Rough, you dare to hit me?" Shunhao retracted his palm in a leisurely manner. Everyone heard it. "Don't blame me, he asked me to hit him. I've never heard of such a request in my life. Master." Ning-si couldn't control it anymore, and threw himself into Shun's arms and cried loudly. Quiet. For a moment, apart from Neji's crying, there was no other sound in the entire Hokage office. "Me, rough, is this young man so brave? Isn't he afraid of starting a war? Isn't he afraid of being condemned by the villagers? Aren't you afraid that the 3rd generation will settle accounts with him?" When the Yunnan village messenger heard Shun's answer, he almost couldn't hold back his anger. Look, is this a human language? He let him fight. Did he let him fight? That's obviously a mockery of him. Okay. Staring fiercely at Shun Uchiha with eyes as big as brass bells. "Master Hokage, I hope you can give me a perfect explanation. Otherwise, don't blame me." Before the 3rd Hokage Hiruzuru Sarutobi could speak, Hinata already let out a long sigh. His younger brother Richai was willing to die for him. He couldn't just watch his younger brother's only child being forced to death. "Master Naruto, my Hinata family is willing to send 50 eye-opening ninjas to join Onbi." He especially emphasized the word, open eyes. Although the white eyes of the Hyuga family do not require strong stimulation to open like Uchiha's blood wheel eyes, they will not evolve. But that is not available to all clansmen. At present, there are less than members of his family who have opened their eyes after all the calculations of the Hinata family. This time, He took out 1/10, which can be said to be full of sincerity. But Danzang stepped in. No, this kind of behavior of disregarding the village for self-interest must be severely punished. What does it mean to give him a chop and not give him a danzo? Look down on him, Danzo. I don't know if Konoha's decisions can't be implemented without his Danzo nodding. Hyuga Hinata's face turned livid. Over the years, Danzo has become more and more arrogant under the connivance of the third generation, but now the situation is serious, and he squeezed out a few more words from his teeth. There will be clan members going to the route to report. Only then did Danzo nodded in satisfaction. Although Nizuzu was talking about 50 clansmen, he believed that Nizuzu would not let him down. Otherwise, his dark name of Konoha is not for nothing. After the deal was concluded, Danzo gave the emissary of Yunnan village a look. The envoy of Yunnan village reluctantly withdrew his gaze. If he hadn't reached an agreement secretly with Danzang earlier and gained support, he didn't dare to be so arrogant in Konoha. Have you finished farting? Uchiha spit out the melon seeds in the face of the messenger. Then it's my turn now. Tell me, how about you bullying my apprentice? You. The envoy was furious. He didn't care about the beating just now. How dare you make an inch? Do you believe it or not that I told Lord Rakage to start a war? Snapped. A big dick with countless melon seeds slapped the messenger's head fiercely. Trust me. How about I ask you, how about you bullying my apprentice? The flying melon seeds stunned everyone present with countless exclamations and astonishment. Me, rough, I thought Liu Bu was already invincible in the world. Whose subordinate is this guy? He is so brave. You. The messenger roared angrily. Because of your own impulsiveness, it triggered the fourth ninja war. Can you afford it? Take care of you. Another big pusher slammed down. Tiantian is not a big man, but there are many thieves. The fourth ninja great war will start at every turn, and war will start at every turn. Come on, I want to see how you started it. Don't force me. The emissary ran away from the beating, in a panic. Why are you being forced? Shun continued to output without showing him any sympathy. Snapped. The bangs and bangs kept echoing in Hokage's office, not because he didn't want to hide, but as the envoy of Konoha, his strength is not weak. Elite Jonin. But no matter how he evaded or resisted, he still couldn't escape Shun's big pussy. You can see clearly, but you can't resist. What should you do? Waiting online, very urgent. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.